Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet, so make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect that of the staff and management of Good Karma Brands, but are the sole responsibility of the host and guests of this particular show.
America may have many, many days, but they will be full of trouble. There will be no rest. There will be no tranquility in this country until the nation comes to terms with our problems.
Bringing you social and political commentary from his mouth to your ears, breaking down the issues which matter to you.
You are not put here to be a white man's footstool. You are put here to represent the very best in God's word.
Legendary civil rights icon, the Reverend Jesse Jackson in the studio. Reverend Jackson, how are you?
Mr. Sherwin, good morning on this chilly Milwaukee morning.
And I am pleased to have one of the founding members of the Black Panther Party, Chairman Bobby Seale. Mr. Chairman, how are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing just fine. Thank you.
From Mr. Eric Holder. Mr. Holder, so good to see you. How are you?
Well, I'm fine, man. How you been? It's been a long time. Haven't seen you for a while.
The Dr. Cornell West. Dr. West, how are you, sir?
My dear brother, you're so kind, you're so generous, man, but I salute you and the work that you were doing there. Doing a magnificent job there in Wisconsin.
Stream live on 1017thetruth.com. Call in with your questions or comments. 833-212-1017. Join us on social media at 1017 The Truth. It may not be what you expect to hear, but I will definitely give you what you need to know. Are you ready for the truth?
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is Sherwin Hughes.
Good morning. Welcome to the program. Today is Monday, April 28th, 2025. On Friday, we all learned essentially at the same time that a Milwaukee County Circuit Court judge, Hannah Dugan, was arrested by Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents for her role in aiding and abetting an illegal migrant evading capture. He was charged with a couple of misdemeanors. He had a mix-up with his roommates, and he was charged with misdemeanor battery. That is how Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents knew that he was in the country illegally. His name was he's not dead, Eduardo Flores Ruiz, and he was in Hannah Dugan's courtroom receiving due process, which I now understand I'm going to have to define for everybody. Because of a crime he was alleged to have committed in Milwaukee County. I'm going to focus on that just for 1 second. Now, I don't know if this man is guilty of what he was accused of, this misdemeanor battery charge. Apparently, Eduardo Flores Ruiz, let's be clear, he is in the country illegally. He was deported once. I believe he came back into the country where he has been for the last 12 years. He recently had a dust-up with his roommates. The police were called. He was arrested, blah, 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 on misdemeanor battery charges, okay? Then there was the attempt to apprehend him in Hannah Dugan's courtroom when she was allowing this man a hearing to find out if he's innocent or guilty on the crimes he committed in Milwaukee County. That is how the process is supposed to work. And so I can see this from a bunch of different perspectives, but I want us to all share this perspective instead of having an opinion on what happened with the judge hiding this man and then thinking that our feelings are facts. I know a lot of you don't want illegal migrants in the country, but it's far more complicated than that. Let me start with the big stuff. The way Donald Trump is executing these illegal immigration orders are unconstitutional. That's number one, okay? This U.S. Supreme Court voted 9-0 that the way they are deporting people is illegal and unconstitutional. The next thing is it's not even a law. This is just an executive order. Donald Trump just gave a directive to Immigration and Customs Enforcement along with the Department of Homeland Security to just go get people, even in some cases if they are American citizens. So it's not even a law. So it is unjustified, it is illegal, and it is unconstitutional, and Trump is doing it anyway. So let's get back to Hannah Dugan's courtroom. She is administering due process, which is what you were supposed to do. Her due process that she was administering was to be interrupted by ICE agents. Now, I think this sends the wrong message. This is a way more complicated issue than people are making it out to be. The message is this: if you're in this country illegally, and you know the Trump administration is after you, I'd imagine word probably travels fast amongst the undocumented folks in this country that if they get caught, if they get apprehended, if they get arrested, they're going to get deported. And if they know they're going to get deported, or we believe that a lot of them have the option to self-deport without any reprisal, meaning you're in the country illegally, you see all these other people getting disappeared by ICE agents, you may say to yourself, uh-oh, they may come get me, let me leave on my own terms. Apparently, there is some leeway or latitude given to illegal folk if they just want to, quote-unquote, self-deport. And part of the theater that they are using to scare people and go into public places and disappear folks and ship them off to detention centers is to scare illegals enough so that they decide to self-deport. Okay, you follow me? So it's a scare tactic and it's political theater, but at the end of the day, it is an illegal and wholly unconstitutional executive order that doesn't even have the same force of law. But let me get to where my real big problem is with this. If you're in this country illegally and you commit a crime against someone in the city of Milwaukee, Milwaukee County, whatever, you owe us a pound of flesh. Before you get deported, you need to be held responsible. And I'm still in favor of your due process because someone is accused of something doesn't mean that he did it. Eduardo Flores Ruiz was accused of misdemeanor battery with his roommates, but we don't know if dude did it. For all we know, his roommates might be working for ICE and might be trying to get this dude deported. But that's why you have due process. And we as black folks know due process more than anybody else because we have received the least amount of it. George Floyd didn't receive any due process. You guys remember him, right? Or have we forgotten about him? And so when other people are not receiving due process, we need to be the first ones out there speaking up because you know ours is next. Y'all know that. You know it's coming for us next, and it's going to come for us in a way that we never could have imagined. And I say that because I couldn't even imagine what this dude Trump is doing right now. So whatever they have in store for us, my goodness, I can't wait for that tidal wave. And none of us are safe, even if you voted for him. You got folks all up and through the federal government, feelings hurt that they got laid off and their whole federal departments got shut down because of Doge. Saw this interview with this white family, moved across country because apparently the wife got a job working for the VA like in Virginia. They were moving from like Colorado or somewhere. Packed up the whole family, moved across country. By the time they got to Virginia, she found out that not only was her job cut, her whole department was eliminated. And so this little family took to social media. But Mr. Trump, we voted for you. How could you do this to us? Shut your asses up. File for unemployment like everybody else. Oops, you probably won't be able to get in. I hope you got enough savings. If you commit a crime in Milwaukee County and you are here illegally, you owe us our pound of flesh for the state law that you broke while you were here. The message that we are currently sending is this. Someone could commit, you name the crime, whatever, misdemeanor, felony, whatever, and let's say they're illegal and they're undocumented. And the crime that they committed against one of us here in the city of Milwaukee, remember now, this is a crime committed by an illegal. The crime they committed carries 10 years in prison. Big time felony, maybe was a violent felony. You have people that are on their way to self-deporting because some of them would rather go back to their home country than to be handled by the Trump administration. Because if you self-deport, you can save yourself from going to the CCOT. Are you following me so far? So someone who is planning on self-deporting can go on a damn crime spree and know that they will not have to pay for the crimes they committed in the United States if they just agree to self-deport. That is yet another reason why this executive order is exceptionally problematic. Yet another reason is this, and this pertains to black folks. I am not here to tell white people what to do, because what good would that do any of us, because they're not going to listen. What I can do is advise and consent African Americans based on our shared history. And again, I'm not telling black folks what to do either, because that's a fool's errand. I can just provide information, and then you can decide if you believe it's fact, you believe it's fiction, do you think it holds the weight of science, or do you want to let your emotions get involved and dismiss it because you feel some kind of way? All of that is up to you. Do not forget that what is happening with immigration and customs enforcement is a precursor of what's happening and what is going to happen to us, because there have been bits and pieces of a lack of due process impacting black people since our inception. So don't think that we as black folks have arrived at a place to where no matter what, because of our citizenship and our hard work in building this country, that we are always going to receive the due process that a citizen should get. It's a whole swath of people in this country. It's like 25% of the people in this country that literally don't want us here and have never realized or rationalized our citizenship in the first place. Let's not forget about them, because they are enough to decide an election either way. So we've always had an issue with due process. A lot of why we've marched and why we protested, especially in the later parts of the 20th century and early 21st century, is because of our lack of due process. The system cheats us. Didn't we complain about the criminal justice system being unfair? Didn't we complain about black men getting longer sentences for crack cocaine than white folks got for powder cocaine? Again, that is a lack of due process, and that is us with our bodies and our prison sentences showing the world that justice is not blind. She sees very clearly. Again, that is a lack of due process. Now, we're just seeing that same lack of due process being exercised amongst other people, right? So ours is coming. If you are black and you believe that Hannah Dugan was wrong for hiding Eduardo Flores Ruiz, even if that is what she was doing, she gave him access to a place that was, let's just say, inaccessible to the public, right? And if you believe that she was trying to hide him, I want you to think about this for a second if you were black, okay? When we were escaping chattel slavery and bondage, slavery was the law in this country. Wouldn't we want white folks to break the rules on our behalf? Yes or no? Would we want white folks to shield us from the slave catchers, to shield us from the institution as we make our quest for freedom? Yes or no? When we were escaping, would we want black folks to also help shield the identity of those of us that were escaping? When you have black folks saying that Hannah Dugan shouldn't have interfered, she shouldn't have stepped in, that is the same to me as a black person snitching on the runaway slave. Well, you know slavery is the law, and even though we don't like the law, you got to maintain the law. You best not escape. These are the worst kind of coon sellouts I've ever seen in my entire life, and I am thoroughly disgusted. Because here's the thing, in supporting Donald Trump's illegal and unconstitutional order to disappear folks before they, who are accused of crimes, give us our pound of flesh for crimes they may have committed. Here, you as a black person supporting this illegal and unconstitutional order means that you're going to get deported too at some point, because there is no grace if you're helping this administration with their illegal and unconstitutional orders. You're going to be next. And quite honestly, those black folks that think that Hannah Dugan was wrong need to be excised from our society first, because you were the worst kind of sellouts, and I'm standing on that. All we have fought for in this country is due process, and when we see someone else take it away, it's not even the force of law. Like, that's the most important thing. An executive order, Donald Trump is doing all these deportations by executive order. The U.S. Supreme Court voted 9-0 that he literally cannot do it. And to have black people still defending Trump in the way his administration is disappearing people is the most anti-black thing I think I've ever witnessed. It is as bad, if not worse, as black people that voted for Donald Trump. you are supporting, as a black person, something that violates due process, the one thing that we have fought for probably more than anything else. Like, it literally nauseates me. Well, she shouldn't have hid that, man. Yes, she should have, because she was exercising due process in her courtroom and did not want an executive order that does not have the force of law. Hannah Dugan was actually enforcing the law and enforcing the Wisconsin Constitution and the U.S. Constitution, which Trump's administration was not doing. So to say that she is guilty of something, and if you agree that she shouldn't have done that, you are supporting Donald Trump's lawlessness, and you are the problem too. Here's the thing with a dictator, and start getting used to it, because he is one. He's an authoritarian. He's a tyrant. He is a dictator. He believes that laws don't apply to him and that he doesn't have to listen to the courts. And he's already illustrated that in his first 100 days. He is a dictator. Dictators only have the power we give them. Meaning, if the American people acquiesce to Donald Trump's power, that is where his power comes from. But if we stand in his face, or if we get in his way and do not allow him to exercise these illegal and unconstitutional orders, then he loses his power. What Hannah Dugan did is she attempted to take away some of the power of the dictator. But if you, especially as a black person, acquiesce to Donald Trump's authoritarianism, I know exactly what kind of slave you would have been. You're the reason why Harriet had a shotgun. Yeah, we're going to talk about it today. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
This may be another Elon Musk bureaucratic shuffle, or this may be whatever it is. These, Dr. Ken, are real consequences.
This is The Truth Unfiltered with Denise Thomas and Dr. Ken Harris.
I believe that there's going to be a step back and a rollback to some of those places that we're talking about making cuts because of the drastic outcome that can occur.
Sundays starting at 7 on 620 WTMJ and Mondays at 6 on 1017 The Truth.
What are some of the things that we need to really focus on to get our fair share of these opportunities, i.e. access to capital?
You know, it's very important to always think about building a strong business plan, understanding the financial parameters around what you're trying to accomplish, building great networks and great relationships so you can have partnerships and building out your dream. And then finding a good financial partner like Old National to help really orchestrate your vision of the organization. And then, as you know, DT, you wouldn't be where you're at because you're phenomenal, doing great work. And then you have to really have to go to work. If you have that dream, you have that vision, the business plan, the financial piece, then you have to really work at it and keep building.
Learn more about the Old National Bank Small Business Empowerment Loan by visiting oldnational.com/small business or contact a small business banker at Old National Bank.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I got the bad news this morning. I think I'm gonna have to leave right away.
Eduardo Flores Ruiz, the man who federal prosecutors say got help to escape from Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan, ran from federal agents outside the courthouse before he was eventually caught and arrested, according to documents that provide new details of the incident. So I want to give a real-world example. Where I'm most disappointed is that black people who don't even really know what justice tastes like. We see it, we read about it, we hear about it. We don't know its flavor. We want to taste it, but we don't get to. And when we are, as black folks, so indoctrinated by white nationalism and white supremacy in this country, which I'm not necessarily blaming black people for, but there has never been a concerted effort, especially amongst white people, to give the actual truth to black people. So we still live under this illusion of patriotism. Like, these are the rules that you follow. This is what you're supposed to do. Screw you, Blackie, and screw your history. That was a long time ago. You're supposed to forget about slavery. But white folks don't forget about nothing. You think white folks forgot about September 11th? Wait till September 11th rolls around. Look at all the damn memorials and the documentaries, and they read all the names. Tell them to forget about that. You think white folks have forgot about the Civil War? They still fly the damn Confederate flag in this country. White folks don't forget about nothing. You think they forgot about the Revolutionary War? Hell, we celebrate with them on the 4th of July. What we do? We barbecue. Trying to tell us to forget our history. They don't forget nothing. When we as black people acquiesce to the lawlessness of a dictator, we put every gain that our community has made against white supremacy at risk. Because if our stance now is just, well, that's just what the rule is. Trump made the executive order. We got to follow it. And Hannah Dugan shouldn't have did what she did. She's facing like 6 years in prison because she was exercising what Trump is not. And for us, our skin folk, who we know ain't kinfolk, to say, well, she shouldn't have did that. That spells doom for us because we are not in a position to support or turn the blind eye to a dictator. Trump is going to get his power from our acquiescence to it. Now, the other thing I think that's even overarching is Hannah Dugan. She's a big Catholic. She's a big Christian. She saw this as unchristlike. I found that so fascinating. I read that over the weekend. Above all else, above laws and constitution, and the fact that this man, Eduardo Flores Ruiz, allegedly committed crimes in Milwaukee County, like he owes us, the people in this county, for the crimes he committed here. Then you can have him. Then you deport him. But you owe us. If an American commits a crime in another country, let's say y'all go over to, I don't know, where y'all like to go. To the Mexicos, to the Dominican Republic, where y'all be going to Antigua, where y'all be going to Spain. A lot of y'all go to Thailand. That's where the passport bros go. And let's say an American citizen goes to Thailand or Dubai. Some of y'all go to Dubai. And you break a law in the UAE, United Arab Emirates. You break a law over there. You owe the people of the UAE restitution for the law you broke over there. They're not just going to send you back to the United States because you broke one of their laws. The place in which you broke the law is where you owe the restitution. And again, I don't know if Eduardo Flores Ruiz would even be found guilty of what he is accused of. See, this is the whole thing with due process. You don't know when someone is accused of a crime if they're actually guilty or not. And we as black folks should know that probably more than anybody else. So we don't know if this man is guilty, but the due process is what proves beyond a reasonable doubt his guilt or his innocence. If he is guilty, then he owes us. Don't deport that man before he gives us our pound of flesh, because this is the place in which he committed the offense. Just like, if you don't believe me, take your ass to another country and commit a crime. And see if you can say to the consulate of that country, to the justice minister of that country, say, hey, yeah, I know I committed a crime. I broke one of your country's laws, but can I just go back to the United States instead? They're going to say, hell no. And in some cases, the U.S. embassy in that country ain't going to be able to help you either, because you broke the law in that country. And they can revoke your visa or whatever travel documents that you have, meaning once they're done with you, you can't ever come back. But you owe the people in the city, in the state, in the country in which you broke the law their pound of flesh. That, what I just described, is how this democracy is supposed to work. But we're sending the wrong message here. We're telling folks that if you're in this country illegally, and the people that are here illegally, they know. They know that they ain't got the documents and the paperwork. They know that. And they might be thinking, okay, well, since I'm going to get a free pass essentially back to my country because of this Trump immigration executive order, and I got to reinforce this. The way immigration enforcement is being carried out right now is not a law. It is just an executive order that has been declared not only illegal, but unconstitutional. This current Supreme Court, the same Supreme Court that overturned Roe versus Wade, voted 9-0 that Donald Trump's immigration enforcement is unconstitutional. I don't know the last time I've seen in any era in American politics such a monumental issue get a 9-0 vote. I don't know if I've ever seen it before. That's how strong this particular issue is. Even amongst conservatives, they are telling Donald Trump, the people that were put on the court by Donald Trump are telling him, dude, you're way out of line. This is way illegal and way unconstitutional, dude. Can't do it. But he's doing it anyway. So the message we're sending is, hey, illegals, we're going to let you self-deport. Even Marco Rubio said it. No, we want them to self-deport. We're going to scare the hell out of them. They're going to self-deport. We're going to get them out of the country. It seems that the quota that needs to be met is prioritized higher than those individuals who may commit crimes in America pay their restitution to Americans. And here's the thing. So Eduardo Flores Ruiz, and I'm using him as an example because he's the reason why Hannah Dugan is now facing felony charges. What if he owes the people that he committed this crime against in Milwaukee County, assuming he's guilty? What if he owes them $10,000? What if that's the restitution? The people that he hurt, assuming he hurt them, assuming he's found guilty through due process. Let's say the judge orders he gets, I don't know, another misdemeanor charge. He's obviously going to get deported, but he owes $10,000 in restitution. The Trump administration is like, you know what? Screw the people that he hurt here. Screw the fact that he may owe them $10,000 in restitution. Just get him out of the country. So that hurts the victims of his crimes because he gets a free pass back to wherever the hell he's going. And maybe he goes to the CCOT. Maybe he goes back to his mama house in Nicaragua or wherever this man is from. Either way, that's robbing us. And that is probably one of the most significant pieces and why I find this so problematic. That and black people that are siding with the Trump administration in the arrest and detainment of Hannah Dugan, because that is black people giving power to a dictator in a country that was founded on white supremacy and white nationalism. It's the same slave that gives all of the power to the slave master. There was always slaves that resisted the plantation, that resisted the slave master, but there was always slaves that acquiesced to it. Remember Stephen in Django? And the D is silent in Django. Stop saying to Django, please, everybody. Don't do that. The L is also silent in Salmon. Please don't do that. Please say specific instead of Pacific, please. Steve, you're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
How you doing, man? I'm all right. So I just wanted to do a little counter on this situation with Dugan. I'm familiar with the courthouse and a lot of things that go on in there with the judges, you know. And she does something that she, you know, didn't approve of through government. Government law overrides state. When are they
what law?
Do this
you said government law overrides state. Tell me what law you're referring to.
Federal overrides state law.
Okay, I agree with you on that.
So the feds did have the authority to come in and do whatever they were doing.
Steve, before you go on, I want you to know that your premise is based on the fact that how immigration enforcement is being carried out in this country is illegal. So we're asking Hannah Dugan to support the illegal activities of a dictator, and the U.S. Supreme Court has determined that the way this man would have been apprehended is also unconstitutional. Remember, Donald Trump is not operating under a law. He just wrote some stuff down on paper and expects everybody to enforce it. The only power that Trump has to do what he's doing is our acquiescence to it. He doesn't have power to do it because it's illegal and unconstitutional. So Hannah Dugan is like, I'm as a judge that was elected to serve justice to people in Milwaukee County, she was not going to allow a man who was accused of a crime here to just be taken away because he owes us, the people in Milwaukee County, our pound of flesh.
Gotcha. Okay, now, another thing. When are the judges going to start doing this for a lot of the guys whose rights are being violated throughout the legal system daily, to the minors, to the highest extent of the law, because I went through a situation where a lot of judges were aware that I was an innocent person, and it took Judge David Swanson, who was just up for election, to actually put his foot down against the district attorney and the other judges that violated my rights. So that is the only thing that I'm referring for. The guy had a Hispanic attorney, Mercedes De La Rosa. You know, he was a Hispanic. The Judge Dugan, done what she done, walked them out the jury door or whatever. You know, when are they going to enforce the laws to protect our own here in Milwaukee that are being violated? Those guys are not going to court. They're not getting court-appointed attorneys immediately because the public defender department is overwhelmingly, you know, they don't have enough attorneys. So what, we going to continue to violate our own rights amongst our Constitution?
Yes. Yeah, probably.
So that
Hannah Dugan was at least someone who was willing to have some courage. But if you expect other people to follow suit with her and give, due process to our people, that ain't going to happen. In fact, we're going to get less due process. No, not even close.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if we wanted due process and justice, we should have voted for Kamala Harris. But for some reason, what Trump was offering at the time, cheaper egg prices was better than voting for due process. But, Steve, I appreciate your call. I got to take a break. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Experience, knowledge, and results. That's what really matters when you need help after a serious truck accident. You'll need a lawyer experienced in fighting and winning for people just like you. Gruber Law Offices has the resources, strong track record of success, and a team of experienced lawyers to take care of your needs. We've successfully helped people injured in big truck accidents for more than 35 years. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Life's better with American Family Insurance. Because whether it's a family road trip in your dream car or hosting a family reunion in your dream home, we help you feel protected so you can enjoy those dreams with peace of mind. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Here is Tory Lowe with his truth.
As I reflect on my journey, I'm reminded of God's blessings and guidance. I've been fortunate enough to accomplish some remarkable feats, including walking 750 miles from Milwaukee to Washington, D.C. in honor of the Civil Rights Movement. I also walked against violence from Milwaukee to Chicago and back for 7 consecutive years. My feet are still recovering, but my spirit remains strong. I've been privileged to advocate for victims of police brutality, search for missing persons, and participate in numerous protests. Last year, I was honored to visit the White House with my colleagues from 101.7 The Truth to discuss pressing issues in the Black community with the Biden administration. Throughout my broadcasting career, I've received several first-place Wisconsin Broadcast Association awards for The Tory Lowe Show. I've also had the opportunity to be part of ESPN 94.5's Packer pregame show at Lambeau Field. As I look back, I am grateful for the incredible journey. Salute to my brothers and sisters on the front lines. And thank you for your tireless efforts and dedication. We're in this together, and I could not have done anything without the love and support of my community. I want to remind you to keep pushing forward, stay vigilant, keep your head on a swivel. Green don't always mean go, and look both ways before you cross the street. And always look out for one another. In 2025, we still got a lot of work to do. God bless you, and I love you.
This has been Truth Takes on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Listen to The Tory Lowe Show weekdays from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
If you haven't done so already, go to youtube.com or open up your YouTube app from your smartphone or other mobile device, because I think most phones have a YouTube app. Either you installed it or it came default. Search 1017 The Truth, hit subscribe. You'll be able to see our in-studio cameras and join our effervescent chat where people follow along with the program in real time, or they just talk about recipes or other things that they find relevant. Glowash 1927 said, "Isn't that young black woman still in Dubai for putting her hands on a security person?" I don't know, but I hope so. Americans sometimes have this arrogance where we think because, we're American, we can go to another country and act like an American. No, you can't. We've become so egocentric that we think because of our citizenship status that we get to act a fool in other countries and not respect their laws and their culture and their customs. We're going to find out very, very quickly that's not the case. Just like we don't want somebody coming over here doing stuff that's wrong or culturally offensive in the United States. If it's okay in your country, then stay in your country. But you got to follow the rules and the laws of the place you're in. And if you break those rules, that's what our whole system of justice is based on. If you break the rules and the laws of where you are, they get to administer justice to you first. And then if we determine that you were in this country unlawfully, then you make your exit stage left. But we are depriving victims of justice. And I've long had an issue with this. For those of you that have been listening to me since my early days, we don't do anything for victims. And I can just start right here in our own community. In fact, I've seen more in the last probably 10 or 15 years since we're on this, re-examining the criminal justice system, people that have committed atrocities against innocent, vulnerable people in our community, right here in our own community, go to jail, have their felony on the record, which they earned, okay? And then we got to hire them, and we got to provide housing for them, and we got to have job training and job placement for the people that hurt a member of their own community to such a level they got a felony, went to prison. But when they come out of jail, we do more for them than the families that have been permanently damaged because of the crime they committed in the first place. That's nauseating to me because victims get nothing. Hannah Dugan was at least trying to get some semblance of justice for the people that Mr. Flores may have violated here in Milwaukee County, because that, believe it or not, is what we elected her to do. Imagine if there are a bunch of illegals that are awaiting trial for homicide, and let's say they kill somebody black. In Milwaukee, they killed a black child. The Trump administration would rather just deport them than have them face justice here for the crime they committed against a member of our own community. And if you are one of those saying that Hannah Dugan should have followed the rules, she should have cooperated with the Trump executive order, you are giving Trump more power. And here's the thing. The more power you give him, and his power comes from us acquiescing to it. Like you got the communists and the socialists. I hate that they're like the U.S. Marines of the movement. And this is no disrespect to my devil dogs. Y'all know that I love me the Marines. I love some Marines. Semper Fi, you devil dogs, you jarheads, you. But it's the socialists and the damn communists that are out there saying, yo, we got to stop acquiescing to Donald Trump's executive orders. Like, they're out there first. There were protests in front of the federal courthouse on Friday. So I drove past the county courthouse on Friday after my show because somebody had texted in saying that there was a protest in front of the county courthouse. So 10th and Wells, I drove past the county courthouse. There was nothing. But I think the person that told me that there was a protest at the county courthouse meant the federal courthouse. And it wasn't even that many people. The news said, several hundred people showed up. It looked like 35 people. So there were protests here in front of the federal courthouse. very small. And then there was a protest or two in Minneapolis, which is weird because I wouldn't think that Minneapolis people would be so incredibly interested to protest for something to happen here. But maybe the people in Minneapolis see what Hannah Dugan did as righteous. But above all else, somebody said that she did it because she's a Catholic, she's a Christian. And, you know, they just lost their pope. So the Catholics are all in their feelings. At what point will we, as black people, that, man, do we love us some Jesus? Holy smokes, we just love us some Jesus. At what point will we look at what Donald Trump is doing to people and see that as anti-Christian? Because black folks are real quick to tell one another, oh, you need Jesus. You need to go to church. Where you go to church, where your church home is. We literally judge one another based upon how deeply we participate in religion. But when you get to exercise your faith in practice and practicality, we're silent. That's crazy, right? That just shows me more and more that we were indoctrinated with Christianity to hurt and to harm one another and to acquiesce to our oppressors. Because if y'all was real followers of Jesus, you would see that people are being treated like the meek. And if you're a Christian, you should not stand for that. Forget your political affiliation, your party affiliation. Where's the Republicans? Where's the evangelicals on this very unchristian-like behavior from Donald Trump? This is a faith nation. Hell, we got in God we trust on the money. But for some reason, when your faith is now being called into action, people would rather shirk to their partisanship than to their religious affiliations. Hello, Bob. I would like for you to stay on the topic. You have the floor.
I would try. You were talking about Trump, and I just do not believe he really wants Ukraine and Russia men to stop dying. That's
Bob. How is that on the topic, brother?
It's somewhat
no, it's
telling
not.
how
No, it's not.
Cruel Trump is. I mean, you switched to Jesus, and I said, oh boy, he's going religious.
But I'm in the context of a judge acted on her Catholic faith in hiding someone from being deported by an illegal and unconstitutional immigration and customs enforcement agent. That's how you see how I tied that in there? I'm using faith to bolster my point because people that are faithful should also see that the Trump administration is acting in a way that is anti-Christ-like. That's what I did. I ain't talking about that damn war over there. And that war is a shame now, but I ain't got nothing to do with some of the issues that we deal in, the lack of due process that we have right here in our backyard now. We'll talk about that war when it's time to talk about that war. But right now, only bombs that's falling in my city is the political ones that are being launched by Donald Trump and his administration. So we're going to stay on the topic now, Bob. If you can't stay on the topic, I'm going to have you call back when we talk about the war.
I'll call back. I guess you got me this time.
All right, then, Bob. Dion, you hang on. I'm going to take a break. I'll come right back to you. Our phone number is 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017. With all this Christianity that so many of y'all preach, where are you at? You know who really stands up and acts in a Christ-like manner and damn near everything they do? Our very own JD the poet. Like, he'll give scripture that makes sense for the times. It even makes sense to me because I get my faith from seeing the faithful. Like y'all are the disciples. I have my understanding of Christianity from how y'all act in the real world. And the most unchristian people I've ever met, the most backstabbing, gossiping, selfish, just self-righteous, egotistical, anti-charity people go to church the most. And somebody got to square that circle now. The people that preach religion, like y'all know how many pastors in this city used to sell dope? And how many pastors used to be pimps? Like seriously. Okay, fair enough. They had a past. But how are you acting Christ-like? They're not. All right, take a break, come back and talk to Dion on the other side. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. Join us on YouTube by searching 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. You also can stream us live at 1017thetruth.com. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, the Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Here at the new 1017 The Truth, we aim to be a staple in Milwaukee's Black community. We are committed to partnering with local organizations and supporting Black-owned businesses. We are proud to call Milwaukee our city and promise to be a positive reflection of our community. We look forward to celebrating Black culture and excellence with you every day as we make history and continue to uplift the voices in our city. Join us for the journey at the new 1017 The Truth, founded by Gruber Law Offices. Milwaukee Black Talk.
Great impressions will exceed your expectations. Great impressions, perceptions, everything.
At Great Impressions Graphics and Printing, they've been proudly serving the community for over 26 years from their location at the corner of 54th and Burleigh in Milwaukee. Their dedication to quality and customer satisfaction has made them a trusted name in printing and design. Great Impressions offer a wide range of services, including banners, posters, yard signs, business cards, programs, and postcards. Plus, they specialize in custom apparel printing, perfect for family reunions, sports outings, business promotions, and more. For your next project, visit greatimpress.com. That's greatimpress.com. Great Impressions. They're here when you need them.
Great impressions, perceptions, everything.
At U.S. Cellular, we believe loyalty is never a one-way street, so we love finding new ways to say thank you to our customers. This is why we're hosting Us Days again. It's our exclusive in-store event to celebrate you, our loyal customers, with unique offers for everyone. Visit our stores during Us Days until April 23rd to take advantage of offers up to $1,200 off of any smartphone and up to $500 off of any tablet. This is the perfect time to upgrade. Come into any U.S. Cellular store for more details. U.S. Cellular, built for us.
Ready to buy your first house, move into your forever home, or simply refinance? At Associated Bank, they've got you. With the right lending plan and guidance, you can achieve your dreams. Your financial goals are closer than you think, and Associated Bank is excited to help you reach them. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Are you looking for an opportunity to better the Milwaukee community? Do you want to develop your skills for a career or job? City of Milwaukee is recruiting for its 16th cohort of AmeriCorps members. We are hiring young adults ages 18 to 25 to serve our amazing scholars in Milwaukee Public Schools. This opportunity allows you to serve your community and gain professional development, which will allow you to enter the workforce, your next educational journey, or even stay with us for a second year of service. Visit cityyear.org to connect with our local recruiters and learn how to apply by Friday, May 2nd.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, the Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I got the bad news this morning. I think I'm
You know what? I can't wait to. I got a little story for y'all that I can't wait to get to. I really hope I get to it. So, some of you are old enough to remember corporal punishment in school, and a lot of you that remember it, you wax nostalgic about how, you know, kids were different. They behaved, they respected authority back when you could whack a kid. How bad did y'all get beat in school, actually? Could they punch you in the mouth? Like, how bad was it? Was it just like a ruler? They slap you with a ruler on the wrist? Like, how bad was it? But a lot of folks say, all right, since we took corporal punishment out of schools, the kids are acting all crazy. And I'm wondering how far it actually went. Some of it was probably abuse. In fact, some of it was probably even sexual abuse, but y'all were all for it. Oh, we acted better when you could punch a kid in the mouth in schools. Guess what? I got really good news for those of you that believe that corporal punishment needs to come back. Your boy is at it again, Rick. Donald Trump signed an executive order that can allow these teachers to punch these kids square in the face. Also know 80% of public school teachers in the United States of America are white females. They're going to be punching your kids square in the face. So the reason why they took I don't want to get into it now because I got Dion on hold. Dion, I'm coming. Don't worry. Don't go nowhere. The reason why they took, then there's some states that still allow it. Most of them are in the South, corporal punishment, where the teacher can punch your kid in the mouth. And we used to wax nostalgia going, oh, if we messed up, then Miss Jones would whoop us, and then Mr. Johnson would whoop us, and then we get home, we get beat by our parents, too. So y'all just got a trail of abuse from school to every adult on your way home. But the reason why they took corporal punishment out of the schools is because it was being applied unfairly. They found, just like we have the statistics now that show black kids get suspended and expelled at a higher clip even when they commit the same infractions of their Caucasoid counterparts, they suspend and expel black kids. So when they bring corporal punishment back, oh my God, y'all are going to love this. They're going to be beating black kids probably to death, but here's the best part about it. Now you got cops in the schools too, so if that kid dares fight back, they're going to get it from the cops too. Let's talk to Dion. Thank you for holding. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
Doing okay. What's on your mind, Dion?
I just called to tell you the person who ever called or texted you on Friday about the protest at the federal courthouse, they were correct. There were they had two. One was in the morning, and when you drove by, maybe they had already dispersed.
They told us the county courthouse. It was actually, I'm agreeing with you, it was at the federal courthouse, but they said it was at the county courthouse. So I drove past the county courthouse looking for what was actually at the federal courthouse. Were you there? Did you see him?
No, my job, I drive by.
Okay.
So then that was in the morning. But then there was another one around like 2:30, 3 o'clock. Now that one had maybe 150 to 200 people there.
Okay.
And then there were two trucks from a Chicago TV station, News 7, that were also there, and, of course, other media. So that was a much larger one later on in the afternoon at the federal courthouse on Wisconsin Avenue.
Good. I'm glad to know that people here are taking that incident serious enough, but also the timing of it, because I think that she was arrested early in the morning, and most folks are at work. And if people can find the time to change their schedule to go and stand up for justice and democracy, we certainly appreciate that. We appreciate you too, Dion.
Thank you. You all have a good day.
All right, Dion. You have a good day too. Yeah, that's good. If people see how egregious this is, and it's problematic for me, and I told you guys 1,000,001 reasons. What he is doing is unlawful and it's unconstitutional. And for the small percentage of us that believe that you need to follow the rules no matter what, you're a problem, because you're the ones now, like the democracy it's us. And to what extent do you want to follow illegal and unconstitutional orders by a dictator? See, now it all fits in a context for me. For many years, I never understood the German people and how they acquiesced to the Nazi party, how they didn't, or not enough of them, they didn't stand up, they didn't use their voices. I see it right now, and most people are afraid. That's what it is. But they can't arrest all of us. There's this is a story that I have, which I have to get to this. I always have like too much information on Mondays because so much stuff happens over the weekend. And there's a quote in this story. In a quote is also a book that was written by an activist, a woman named Liz Theo Harris. Yeah, I never heard of her either. And the quote and the title of her book, and that's what we titled the show today. Ricky, you put the title up. I'm sure you put the title up, right? Okay. You only get what you're organized to take. I had to sit with that one because it is probably the most factual piece of information that you can condense into a single sentence. We'll take a break, come back, and we'll continue our conversation. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back for hour 2.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Hey, Truth fam, this is your girl, Melanie Ricks, and I want to remind you to tune into Nothing But the Truth digital show with me, Melanie Ricks, presented by Visit Milwaukee. Every Wednesday at 6 p.m., a new episode drops on the 1017 The Truth YouTube page. And since it is on YouTube, I hold nothing back. I give you all my hot takes on celebrity gossip and give you the tea on relationships that you don't want to miss. Subscribe to 1017 The Truth on YouTube so you never miss Nothing But the Truth digital show, dropping every Wednesday at 6 p.m., presented by Visit Milwaukee. Handcrafted, homegrown, world class.
It's Dr. Ken Harris, and you can watch me now live on YouTube every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m., and you can watch the best radio show in Wisconsin by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Watch me explore the issues which are shaping our community while also having fun discussions, pop culture, current events, all kind of stuff going on right here on YouTube right now by subscribing to 1017 The Truth. Milwaukee Black Talk is now streaming live on YouTube.
Carrie, where's Tori Lowe and Dr. Ken at? I'm trying to knock these commercials out.
How am I supposed to know, Sherwin?
Well, I'm about to do their parts because my impressions are on point anyway. This is Dr. Ken Harris from Truth in the Afternoon, and I want you to download the Truth app in the Google Play Store and Apple Store so you can never miss my show or any of the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Really, Kyle?
Sherwin, you are crazy.
Sherwin, your impression of me is horrible. Move. Give me my mic. I guess I'll just repeat what Sherwin said. Go to the Google Play Store or Apple Store to download the 1017 The Truth app today so you can take the home of Milwaukee Black Talk with you wherever you are.
Can't listen live? Download the new 1017 The Truth app on your smartphone today to catch up on all your favorite shows. Search 1017 The Truth on your Google Play Store or Apple App Store so you don't miss out on any of the action.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because when people don't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, they can truly thrive, like Marta.
And now we'll hear from our class valedictorian, who with our hard work never ceases to amaze us. Please welcome Marta Moreno.
And Alex.
Hey, Alex, how did the interview go?
I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
I knew it. Let's meet up later to celebrate.
And Diego.
Mom! I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow. feedingamerica.org/actnow. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Join the movement. Listen to the Tori Lowe Show on 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, the locally owned Good Karma brand station. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 2 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Our phone number is 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017. Let's talk to Lisa. You're on 1017 The Truth. How are you? Turn your radio off, Lisa.
Good morning, Sherwin. Hey, Sherwin.
Huh?
That's my TV.
Well, turn it down,
I got 55 inches of your face was on my TV for the whole commercial. I'm like, hey, Sherwin look kind of cute. He's a pretty nice-looking gentleman. Okay, don't be looking like that. Do not be. I'm looking at my TV. I'm looking at your facial expressions.
Why do y'all just... Okay, we got serious stuff to discuss. I don't... Thank you, I guess, for the creepy compliment.
Know you love that. But anyway... all right.
Not as much as you might think.
Okay, but anywho, corporate punishment No, well, it depends on the teacher or the principal.
No, it don't. It depends on the kid's behavior, Lisa. If the kid is acting up, the teacher give him a warning. Hey, little Johnny, shut your little ass up. And if little Johnny keep talking, punch him in his little mouth. I bet he'll shut up then because his lips will be swole.
But you know what? It starts at home. You got to teach your
He ain't at home. He acting up. Hold on now, Lisa. He acting up in the classroom. He disrupting all the other kids now. Punch him in his little mouth.
Sherwin, we were taught school is to go to learn.
Okay.
Shut your mouth, sit down, and shut up. Now, when that kid is there and they're disobedient, the parents should know their teachers and the principals. Because my brother got beat down by the Principal Kugler. They did something wrong, I forgot. But the principal, the vice principal, Principal Kugler, whooped their butt, took them in the office one by one and beat their butt. And kids back in the day were not like their words. You were told to be quiet and shut up. You want to be the class clown, as they called it. Then, you will get in trouble. But, after that, then you get home, you get, beat down too. And they didn't do it again. Okay, those are boys. They did it again. But anywho, listening to your Donald Trump and his issue, or the judge in the courthouse. I mean, corporate punishment. Not corporal punishment, but what they're doing, they're not giving these gentlemen their court date. They're not giving them. They're just taking them and deporting them. For what? All of them are not killers and murderers and whatever thieves that they said they are.
Some of them are, though.
These are working men.
Some are. Got to keep in mind, some, whether they're killers or murderers.
Some are. Very few.
Here's the thing, Lisa. We don't know that because they're not getting due process. So what I'm saying is, if they kill and they murder in the United States and they're not getting their day in court, then don't they owe us and don't they owe the victims of the people that they committed these crimes against a pound of flesh? So if you commit a crime in America, the Trump administration would say, you ain't got to serve time for the crime you committed here. We'll just send you back to your country. No, they got to serve time here because this is where they broke the law and this is where they created victims. Those victims deserve justice. So that is why we need due process to figure out who did what and what their sentence should be. Right. They shouldn't be able to evade a prison sentence just because they're illegal.
He's not even sending them to their country. He's sending them to those that camp in El Salvador.
Well, the self-deportees, they get to go back to their countries.
That's punishment.
Not all of them going to the Seacock now, because if that was the case, it would already be full. The Seacock can only hold 40,000 people. They're trying to deport 11 million, and they want the majority of the people that leave this country that are here illegally to self-deport. They say, if you self-deport, we're not going to stop you. We're not going to, impede. If you want to go back to El Salvador, you want to go back to Nicaragua, we're going to let you go. Meaning those folks can commit a crime here, evade justice, and then just say, I'm going to go home now because I'm illegal. And they'll be like, okay, go ahead.
Okay, but do they have the funds to, fly out or?
Hold on, Lisa. They got the funds to get him. However they got here, they can go back. A lot of them hitchhike, take the bus, take a Greyhound. Greyhound take you right to San Diego. $68.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. But you got to do what you got to do. And America's an opening. It's a melting pot, and they let everybody come in. They tell everybody, come on in. Now they're telling everybody to go back home. America, make up your mind. You don't know what you want to do.
This is a white country. It's for them.
Right.
They're just interfering with their business.
Well, then I tell you what, when our business goes back to our different countries, then what the heck they're going to do? You got to remember, we built this country and we continue to do it. Our black people are continuing to do it.
That troubles me because we built the country and we built the strength of its democratic institutions. But if black people are supporting Donald Trump in his lawlessness, we are doing more to tear down what black people built than we did to boost it up. That's the problem. When black folks are supporting lawlessness and unconstitutional executive orders, we are undoing every step of every march and every stitch of blood and death that we had to sacrifice during the civil rights movement. I got a problem with that. I'd rather black folks just shut up and not say nothing than to support Donald Trump and his illegal execution of these orders.
I agree with you. So I'm just a reminder, guys, Saturday is a black community meeting. and I will give you guys further information. Lunch afterward. It's the same location at all. And on April, guys, remember April 30th, you can lay in your bed like me and just put your hand in the air for what's his name, President Torre. Go, President Torre. Go.
Who?
Go.
Who the hell's President Torre? I don't know who that is.
I can never say his name right. Burkina Faso.
Who the hell is that?
Burkina Faso in
That's a
Africa.
country.
Yes.
What they got to do with anything?
The president's name is Torre. I know they protested April 30th.
Protesting him?
April, right?
They're protesting the African.
Yeah. No, they're protesting his country in Alta Maui and Niger.
Who's protesting the African country?
In Africa, the Africans are asking us along to support and, to protest. That's one thing we don't do in America.
Straight. No, I'm cool.
Well,
I'm all right. I'm cool. No. We too easily distracted, Lisa. When them Africans ain't coming over here protesting, they ain't protesting for us. My time is too limited. We got stuff we need to worry about right here because of the Africans. Would you all please come and protest for us? No, we can't. We're very busy, Mr. African, sir. Sorry, Mr. African man. As they carry their baskets on top of their head.
I'm protesting for you and my niece because right now I want some shrimp and grits. I want some shrimp. I don't feel like cooking it. Sherwin, my bed is evil.
Goodbye, Lisa. What? She said her bed is evil? Probably because of all the sinful things she does in it. Let's talk to Eddie. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you, Eddie?
Oh, I'm doing okay this morning. It's kind of hard for me to digest all this that's going on with this Trump issue and all these things going on. I mean, at the end of the day, it sounds like, what can you do about it? I mean, it's almost like he said in one of his campaigns where he'd probably go out and shoot someone and he won't even go to jail.
That's coming.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Then what's next? I mean, the part that's hardest for me to believe, I mean, you're an intelligent guy, I'm intelligent, and they see this and they justify it. Just like the guy that called you, Jason, yesterday and said since the guy was illegal, he doesn't have due process, man. What school did they graduate from, man? You remember the guy called and he was saying that this latest guy with the incident that was getting that the woman, the judge, kind of like interfered with because she was trying to give the guy due process. He said some guy, it was a white guy, he was celebrating and said that
Alan. I think it was Alan. He called on Friday.
Yeah, Alan, right. He called and said that the guy didn't deserve due process because he's illegal, man. I mean, and then this is another thing that bothers me. The United States, mostly everybody here, their ancestors are from somewhere else. So who's going to be here when he sends everybody back? To where? It's just crazy.
Well, he's not sending everybody back, though, Eddie. You know who he's going to send back. Everybody ain't going back.
Right, but
they want this country for themselves, but they've always wanted it for themselves. That is why they exercised and manifest destiny and killing hundreds of millions of Native Americans brought us over here for free labor. They never wanted to share this country with us. Or anybody but themselves. That's what they're trying to get back to. That's make America great again. When they ran, owned, and controlled everything.
But then, okay, so, hello?
I'm here.
Oh, I was born in Wisconsin, United States all my life. I've never been to Africa. I guess that's where he would send me back to. I don't want to live with lions, tigers, and bears. And more likely, if I went back to Africa, I'd probably be in worse shape than I am in now. I don't know nothing about living in that country. I don't know nothing about hustling in that country. I don't know anything. So, and not only that, white folks are mad at black folks. If they look at history, it ain't our fault about the jobs and whatever. The jobs are given. Who would you rather do? Get free labor or pay for labor, and even that's going on now. They'd rather hire somebody white that can't do the job than somebody that's black that can do the job.
Well,
it's just crazy.
If we can get free labor, that's ideal. I'm just saying.
Right.
Who wants to pay for labor?
And if they, And if they do get the country back to the great America, who's going to do certain jobs? Who's going to clean the bathrooms? Who's going to scoop up the horse doo-doo and all that kind of stuff? You know, I mean, it's just crazy. But the society is letting this happen, and they scared of what? If you got to go back to some of these other countries, I'm quite sure you'd be a little more scared than you are that you're here, because it's going to tell you probably become a slave again in another country, you know. But one thing I want to close with: when you retire and Trump gets out of office, y'all should go on the road together, man, because you be coming up with some you be coming up with some funny stuff, man.
Hey, wait, I should go on the road with Trump?
Yeah, I mean, you can talk about him and he can do his thing.
I don't think I would laugh. The first small Mississippi town I entered with Donald Trump is the last Mississippi town I'd ever see. I don't think I should go on the road, but I'm glad that you find us both equally entertaining. Thank you for your call, Eddie.
All right.
Okay, then. He said I should travel with Trump. I'm not. That wouldn't work out very well. He said, who gonna shovel the horse doo-doo? I don't know. What are they paying? How much does it pay? Have you guys ever talked to an addict, like someone who was hardcore addicted to like a hard drug? Not even crack, maybe. A recovered, like 20 years clean from crack, 20 years or more. You ever talk to one of those people? You ever talk to somebody who was so addicted to heroin and they weren't smoking it or snorting it, they were mainlining heroin? Because it starts out, they snort it. I guess there's versions of heroin that you can snort. This is prior to fentanyl. Fentanyl is a whole nother ballgame. Because I don't think people actually recover from that. The percentages of people recovering from fentanyl, it's not good. The odds are not in their favor. But you ever talk to someone who was, they died because of their addiction? Apparently people that overdose, because now that we Narcan them, you Narcan the people to bring them back, and they got Narcan vending machines apparently, where if somebody, it's so common apparently, that they just have, and David Crowley, I think he signed an ordinance, or there was some funding that was released where we can have Narcan vending machines. So if you see somebody ODing, you can Narcan. I don't even know what that looks like, and I'm not trying to be funny at all. But if somebody is ODing, I don't know what to do. I'd be scared. I'd hurt them more. They'd be laying on the ground probably, a little foam at the mouth, which means mouth to mouth is out. Sorry, can't do that. I'd probably just stand over and be like, breathe, kick your legs. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to Narcan somebody, but it's that much of a problem. It's a real big problem, right? But if you've ever talked to someone who is recovered, another thing they do is, I guess, I don't know if it's cool or what it is, but they get tattoos for every time they've died and come back. Did y'all know this? The people that overdose on opiates, on fentanyl, and on heroin, because now they cross over. And I guess Narcan pulls them right back to earth, and they're alive. They get a tattoo on their arm to signify every time that they overdosed and died and came back. Craziest stuff ever. But if you've ever talked to somebody that has recovered from that, oh my God, they're so profound. You know, I've met some dope fiends in my life. You know what's crazy? If it wasn't for the dope that they were addicted to, these are I'm not lying to y'all, these are some of the most brilliant people I've ever met. And I can't figure out how it is. If you ever just sit and like talk to them, they're so intelligent. Now, I'm sure there's some that aren't very intelligent, but you see how much promise they have, but these drugs got in the way. Alcohol is another one. I have met some exceptionally brilliant alcoholics. And if it wasn't for the drinking, they would be either Fortune 500 CEOs, they would be members of Congress or the Senate, they would be thought leaders, they would be tastemakers, like they would be significant. But the alcohol, the addiction, It just screws up their entire life trajectory. Have you ever met anybody like that? And then you have a conversation with them once they become clean. I mean, like years and decades clean. And I've had many opportunities to talk to people like that because that is a fascinating journey. It really is. How do you go from living on the streets, you know, women that had to sell their bodies to get their next fix, and then they recover and they become fully functioning, responsible people many, many, many years later? I'm talking about the worst of the worst, the people that were on the brink of death, and they've all been to prison, right? They've all been incarcerated dozens of times because of whether it was possession or the things that they did, the illegal things that they did to get the money for their drugs. Have you ever talked to one of those people? Even if they are, let's say, 25 years recovered, and you ask, and they're very open. Part of their therapy is they talk about it. You can ask them any question because they've been through so much and they've been so vulnerable so many times that they look at their survival as this incredible badge of honor, and they don't want to keep it a secret. Oh, they will open up to you. Very few addicts, like the worst of the worst kind of addicts, are quiet about their addiction. And I say their addiction because it never goes away. The heroin addict that's 25 years clean, when you talk to them about it, sometimes their eyes glaze over and their mouth waters. Now, they're clean. They're not going to do junk anymore. At least we hope they don't. But they're still addicted to it. You ever talk to somebody like that where they get so into the description, they can remember how good it felt to be high. And they remember like that first hit that hooked them. Not necessarily the first time they tried the drug, but that hit or that injection that got them hooked. They remember it like it was yesterday. They never forget it. But also, addiction doesn't go away. I think a lot of people that aren't addicts think that, oh, they go to rehab and they recover. No. They're always addicted. Their brain doesn't ever really recover. The addiction stays with them. That is the United States to cheap labor. The United States is as addicted to cheap labor as the heroin junkie and the crack addict. So if the cheap labor wasn't coming from chattel slavery, then we want to get it from underdeveloped third world countries. America, to understand her, is to know her addiction to cheap labor, and we'll get it however we can. We'll tariff our way to it. We'll slavery our way to it. We'll bomb another country, destroy their infrastructure, build capitalist monuments in those countries, and make those people in those countries work for American corporations for pennies on the dollar. Hell, we'll even have them build our cars. We love cheap labor. It is our addiction. And once you see America through that lens, and you can love America, you can be patriotic, but we love cheap labor. We also love Walmart and Costco and Dollar General and Dollar Tree and Family Dollar. That is a part of our addiction to cheap and free labor. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Start jamming in the morning and get your daily drop of juice.
Juice gets you hydrated and started for your day. And that's what we plan to do from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Every single morning, we're going to be keeping you in the mix, talking about everything you care about all before 9 a.m.
So wipe that crust out your eyes and get ready for jamming with juice.
Turning your mornings into your favorite part of the day.
Get that steak breath out of here. Brush your
It's
teeth.
it, bro. Like, what? Catch Jammin' with Juice
from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Good morning, Milwaukee.
It's 101.7 The Truth. Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. There's lots of buzz surrounding the draft, but you won't find one seeping through Pella's windows and doors. In fact, you should make Pella your number one pick because right now you can take advantage of no interest financing options or free glass upgrades as long as you order by April 30th. Make a statement by adding Pella's architectural interest inside and out with maximum design flexibility. Their talented designers and installers can match your unique home through dramatic sizes, custom colors, finishes, profiles, product types, and more. Along with durable and distinguished details, all Pella products stand the test of time, which is why they confidently offer the best wood warranty in the industry. Don't miss out on no-interest financing options or free glass upgrades at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Certain restrictions apply, and the deal ends April 30th, so place your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
At U.S. Bank, when they say they're in it with you, they mean it. Not just for the good stuff, the grand openings and celebrations, although those are pretty great, but for all the hard work it took to get there, the fine-tuning of goals, the managing of cash and workflows, and decision-making. They're in to help you through all of it, because together they're proving day in and day out that there is nothing as powerful as the power of us. Visit usbank.com to get started today. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, copyright 2024, U.S. Bank.
Sharon needed legal help. She needed Gruber Law Offices.
When I think about Gruber Law Office, I think about how they took care of me, how they make sure that you get what you're supposed to get. Gruber Law Office. One call, that's all. I will always trust one call, that's all.
Injured? Call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's all.
They are the best. I'm very happy.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
No, I can't do it. I can't do it, Rick. I can't. That's enough of that. Welcome back to the program. So there was another. He signed so many executive orders. So check this out. Has it been 100 days? 100 days, I think, is this week. It's got to be. This first 100 days of the Trump administration has been the longest 10 years of my life. I swear. No president has ever signed more than 200 executive orders in 4 years. You follow that? In a full 4-year term, no American president has crossed the threshold of 200 executive orders. I don't know what he is at now, but Trump was at something like 120 executive orders at the beginning of this month. No president has ever signed more than 200 executive orders in 4 years. Trump has signed 120 in 60 days. Yet another one of those executive orders is giving more latitude or taking away the restrictions on corporal punishment. So if you follow the whole erasing and evaporating DEI, so they are using that. I got to make this plain for folks because we may see it as something else. There were things that America was doing with no respect to how it was harming black people. Because as we were fighting for like basic rights, our humanity wasn't respected really anywhere. So as we got more, and I say as we get more rights, federal protections, meaning if somebody violated our rights, there were real world penalties for those people. But it took us a long period of time to get to where our rights were protected. We're given rights, but if no one is protecting them, if there's no enforcement, then the rights don't matter. If there were things that America was doing to disproportionately harm black people, being unfair, discriminating, institutional, structural racism, sorry, we're not going to hire you because this company just never has hired black people, so we're not going to hire you. Oh, thank you for applying. You got a great resume, but you're black. So that's now illegal, but it didn't used to be. And there are a whole bunch of other things that America did that kind of flew below the surface that harmed black people. It could be something like racial profiling. 1940s, 1950s, cops just pull you over, pull you out your car, search your vehicle, right? No due process because they could. Now, there's a little bit more scrutiny on racial profiling. In fact, there are these things called consent decrees, which, of course, Donald Trump signed an executive order effectively ending all of them. So we found in the city of Milwaukee, to give you an example of a consent decree, that black men were like 9 times more likely to be pulled over by a Milwaukee police officer even if there was no probable cause or no infraction, right? And like with white men, it was like a way lower number. They were profiled less. So this took place under the Obama administration, and so under Attorney General Eric Holder, the Milwaukee Police Department was put under a consent decree to remedy the huge disparity in traffic stops that existed with black men, that existed less for Hispanic men and even less so for white men. Consent decree means you've got to record every stop. You got to give the details of every stop. You got to give the race and demographic information of every stop for a period of time in which the consent decree is in effect. And what they believe that would do, if a cop has got to write down and make public record why they pulled someone over, police that are pulling people over without probable cause they'd be spotted. They'd be outed, you see. So this consent decree puts a microscope on the Milwaukee Police Department because the statistics mete out something needing to be done. Donald Trump has canceled all those consent decrees. There was another one. What was the guy's name in Baltimore? They pulled him over, put him in the back of the paddy wagon, and he died in the back of his name? Eddie? Percy? Well, I'm not sure what his name was. But Baltimore was put under a consent decree as well. A lot of police departments around the country, because of their egregious statistics on racial profiling, were put under consent decrees. Donald Trump evaporated all of those, so now the racial profiling is going to be able to continue without any kind of recourse or penalty from the federal government. All right? Well, he signed another executive order. He's probably close to 200 right now, if I had to guess, that removes the restrictions on corporal punishment. It was removed essentially altogether. There's some exceptions. There's some southern schools, I think, that allow teachers to physically discipline children. But for the most part, it is illegal all over the country. There's other forms of discipline that can be used. Well, the reason why they took corporal punishment out of the schools, because just like racial profiling in that consent decree, it was found that black children were bearing the brunt of the abuse or of the corporal punishment in schools, which should be a shock to no one. So instead of punching the kids in the face or slapping them with a ruler or hitting them on the butt with a paddle, which to me that verges on sexual abuse. It does. Hitting a teacher hitting a child on the butt, that's freaky to me. It's very S&M. They probably put a ball gag in the kid's mouth. Could you imagine that? Little Johnny, this is a part of your punishment. Put on this leather onesie. Put on this leather mask with a zipper for the mouth. Put a ball gag in your mouth. This is a part of punishment. Black children were being disciplined more harshly when corporal punishment was the law of the land. And it was eliminated for that reason, because if it exists, black children are going to get it worse, which also makes sense because we know, just at MPS as an example, MPS has got a lot of problems. 40% of MPS's problems are in the classroom, 60% are outside of the classroom, including teachers that don't live in the neighborhoods of the children that they teach, including the lead crisis in the schools, just a whole bunch of just stuff. But corporal punishment was taken out because black children were impacted more harshly. And so instead, now they just suspend and expel. So whatever discipline they have in a majority black school district, okay, whatever discipline they have, black children are going to get it worse. I'm going to take a break. When I come back, we're going to talk about this executive order that essentially allows schools and districts to create their own policies when it comes to corporal punishment. And I want you to just think for a moment. First of all, I wonder if they put it on a referendum, how would y'all vote? If NPS did a referendum and said, hey, voters, yes, should teachers, administrators, and school safety be allowed to use corporal punishment in schools or no? I bet you it would pass. I bet you it will pass. Because y'all could go into the little voting booth, whatever, and you can say, oh, my God, I love the children. I want NPS to do well. And we have all these barriers to a child's success. Like, y'all will say that stuff in public, having conversations. You'll post that stuff in social media. But I bet you if they asked City of Milwaukee voters, do you want teachers and principals and administrators and school safety? Maybe we keep it limited to school safety. School safety should be able to use corporal punishment, like hit kids. I bet you would pass 80% to 20%. Take a break, come back, talk about the Trump executive order that allows schools to do exactly that with no impediments from the federal government. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
Stop touching the babies. Stop touching the little boys. Stop touching the little girls. And stop raising them bastards y'all creating.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Immerse yourself in a place where bold ideas are sought after, where all are encouraged to bring their personal flourish. Here, innovation is a way of life. In this city, the beat flows. Together, we're dancing to the rhythm, forward. Now, it's your turn to grab hold of that energy where you'll remember not just the meals, the celebrations, or the uncommon coast. What you'll remember is how we made you feel. Come experience Milwaukee, where fresh meets fearless every day.
Saving energy and money is easier than you think. Here are 2 simple things you can do to reduce your energy use and lower your energy bill. Use thermal curtains to reduce each room's energy loss by up to 25%, and make sure vents aren't blocked by furniture or rugs to improve airflow and comfort. Simple, smart savings. Get more energy-saving tips at WeEnergies.com. Today's Making Your Money Work is presented by Associated Bank, and right now I am excited to be joined by Ashley Lucas. Ashley Lucas, how are you doing today?
I am doing amazing, and I am excited. We are so close to the house.
I'm doing really good, too. I'm excited to be speaking with you because, you know, the work that you and Associated Bank do is incredible. So I want to get right into it. So in what ways does Associated Bank support small businesses?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for the kudos. We really take it to heart here to ensure that we're helping the businesses in our community, those local business owners that are working hard, you know, to help the people that, you know, live and work in the Milwaukee area. So one of the biggest things we have here is we have not only certified branch managers and colleagues, but also a small business relationship manager team that's able to assist a business, whether they're just starting out, they need their first loan, they're looking to retire, they're wondering, you know, how to manage their day-to-day operations with their finances. And I think that's really important because, you know, having that go-to person that you can contact no matter, you know, what questions you have is really, really, really important to business owners.
So how can people get in touch with you? I know they're interested at this point.
We have something also really cool at Associated Bank. Anyone can go into any one of our local branches. We have business certified colleagues there that are able to help. Or if you're like me and you see the snow coming down today and you're like, nope, I want to stay in my jammies and at home, we have a virtual relationship manager hotline, and anyone can call whether they're a customer or not. They're open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and their number is 1-800-270-7725.
Thank you so much, Ashley Lucas. We always have such a good time.
Making your money work on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth is sponsored by Associated Bank. Your money works here. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Well, I come to find out it's a bunch of schools, not schools, but states. It's way more than I thought. Corporal punishment in schools still legal in many states. The practice has been prohibited in most states, but corporal punishment is still being used to discipline students. The calls to ban it nationwide are growing louder. So this article is from, this has got to predate Trump 2.0. This was, so May of 2020, in National Education Association Today, a publication for public educators, they were calling for the outright, complete, and total ban of corporal punishment in schools. Let me do a little anecdotal information here. When I see videos on social media, because now kids have phones in classrooms, which I typically would be against because they would be a distraction. Like if we, in my generation, if we were allowed to have cell phones in classrooms, we would have cheated on every test. So I got this dude I grew up with, I ain't gonna say his name because, you know, he might be listening. We had assigned seats. I took German in high school, and we always had tests. Always had vocabulary tests in German class. And so we had assigned seats. And my friend, he and I sat like 6 seats, 7 seats from the front. So we're like in the back of the class, okay? But in front of him, I don't want to say her name either. She was a big girl. Ain't nothing wrong with a big girl. Now everybody calm down. Ain't nothing wrong with no BBW. Rick loves him with BBW. The thicker the better, he says. So my friend and I, who are in German class, didn't like these vocabulary tests because you really had to study, like hard, to do. But that's the only way you learn a foreign language, by learning the damn words. Learn how to conjugate verbs or whatever. So he would write down the words in German and then their English translation before every vocabulary test, okay? Now, he sat in the same seat. We all sat in the same seat. And I think teachers assign seats so they know who is sitting where, because it's easier to learn the students' names if you know that in row 2, seat 5, that's little Billy. And if little Billy that's his assigned seat, then the teacher knows how to call on little Billy because she can look at her seating chart, you see. So my friend, he sat behind a big girl. Boy, she was thick. What's the comparison to how thick she was? Probably pre-Ozempic Lizzo. Lizzo hasn't lost that much weight, by the way. So my friend, here's what he did. He took like a full 8.5 by 11 sheet of loose leaf paper. And he would, how many lines you got on a piece of loose leaf? 20-something lines? And then he would write down the German words and then the English words on this piece of paper. This is how we cheated back in the day. Back before, there was no cell phones back then. Not portable ones that would work in a classroom. We had like bag phones and then the brick phones, you know, that big ass Zach Morris phone, the gigantic phone. Huge phones. So he write down all these words. And he would just tape that sheet of loose leaf paper that had the English words and the German words on it. He would just tape it to the big girl's back. And he'd look at his test. And he would look up at the big girl's back because he would just tape. And the big girl didn't even know she had a cheat sheet on her back. And then I would look over. And I could also get someone a German vocabulary words too. That's how we cheated. We used to tape stuff to a big girl's back. Now, if we had cell phones in the classroom, we just would have found a way to use our cell phones to cheat. How in the world can kids get a meaningful education if you're allowed to have a cell phone in the classroom? I said all that to say this. With cell phones in the classroom, these kids record everything. And when I'm scrolling through social media, and every now and again you'll see a kid get real loud. They get up in a teacher's face, which is something we never did. If anything, the worst kids I went to school with would say a single cuss word as they're leaving the classroom. You know what I mean? They wouldn't say it to the teacher. They would never get in the teacher's face. Some of these kids are putting their hands on teachers. Have you guys seen these videos? Every now and again, and it's always interesting to see the public's reaction to it. But this also tells me why I couldn't be a teacher. Because if one of your children, a child, got in my face and put hands on me, there's no way, because the disrespect that I would feel would defy my logic. Because children know nothing about the world. Even the ones that you think are mature, they are children. And when children think that they can overpower an adult, they need to know that immediately, because also there are some children that grow up believing they can overpower adults because they overpower their mamas and they overpower their grandmamas, and they think they can get out here in the real world and overpower somebody who ain't their mama, who ain't their grandmama. So these are life lessons that children need to know, because in the real world, someone will kill your child. Your child can talk to you like that. They can slap you. And the worst is teenage girls and their mothers. My word. Worse than World War III. What is it with teenage girls and their mamas? Holy smokes. So when I see these videos from the classroom, because kids have their cell phones in the classroom, of a child getting, especially a male teacher. I just saw a video over the weekend. I swear I watched it 30 times. Oh, there was two. One was a female teacher and a female student. One was like a 15, 16-year-old boy and a male. They're both black. In all cases, they were black. A black male school safety and like a 15 or 16-year-old boy. The 15 or 16-year-old boy was tall, but the little boy was skinny. The school safety was probably in his 50s and kind of short and kind of thick, you see. And the kid walked up on a security guard. You should have seen that security guard turn into an MMA fighter. He snatched that little boy up and slammed him down on the ground, said, "Boy, don't you ever walk up on me." And immediately the little boy started crying. "Oh, get off of me." Learn that lesson. To me, legitimate. Legitimate. Your children, when they come to school, and maybe they got stuff going on at home, behavioral issues, but the very, very least they need to know and they need to understand. And school is for learning, right? Well, you're going to learn them today. If they get in the face of an adult or physically threaten an adult, self-defense rules apply. That's why I couldn't be no teacher. I feel horrible because children are coming out of a lot of our schools unprepared. They know nothing about history, and so when history repeats itself, they are powerless to stop it because they don't know that it's history repeating themselves because they never learned history in the first place. But if one of these kids came up to me, testing me, trying me, putting their hands on me, I'd have to make a bad phone call that day. "Hey, hi, Miss Jones, how are you?" Yep, this call is pertaining to your son. "Okay, well, we ain't gonna suspend him because we got the little disciplinary infraction taken care of today at school. We ain't gonna suspend him because then the boy ain't gonna get lessons. So we ain't gonna kick him out of school. We ain't gonna expel him. But when he come home today, his black ass gonna have a lump on his head." No, he ain't got a concussion. We gave him a little concussion protocol. His vision was a little blurry, but we had to just let him know that he can't walk up on an adult in this school and get physical with an adult. So, okay, I'm glad you understand, Miss Jones. Now he gonna be limping too when he get home. Okay, I'm glad you understand. If school is for learning, then kids need to learn that you can't walk up on an adult now. Problem with this Donald Trump executive order is it may allow some school districts, especially those that have police in the hallways and police in the classrooms, to exact that discipline in a different way. The other scenario I saw was a little maybe 14-year-old girl. She got her phone took. The teacher's like, "Nah, you can't have a phone in my classroom." Teacher walks up to the little girl, like, "You get your phone back at the end of the school day." That's legitimate. This little girl pushed the teacher. That teacher slammed that girl on the ground. Nah, that teacher went a little far. She snapped. She started punching the little girl. The little girl started crying. That was bad. But You don't do that. So if kids are going to school to learn, if they're not learning their actual studies, then they're going to have to learn proper behavior when it comes to discipline, because the kids are not going to get killed by the teacher in school, but if they have that same kind of behavior and don't respect a certain kind of mature adult authority, someone on the streets will actually kill them. And now you got to start a damn GoFundMe account to bury your child. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
As clutch of a player to ever play basketball.
It's game time on Season 4 of Behind the Bucks on Bucks Plus.
This year, I was like, I need to impose myself more on this team.
Explore Damian Lillard's journey to becoming a top 75 player in NBA history.
That's what really had me feeling like this is going to be great.
Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker, and H&R Benefits Consultant. Find Bucks Plus on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and wherever you get podcasts.
It's 101.7 The Truth. Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. There's lots of buzz surrounding the draft, but you won't find one seeping through Pella's windows and doors. In fact, you should make Pella your #1 pick, because right now you can take advantage of no interest financing options or free glass upgrades as long as you order by April 30th. Make a statement by adding Pella's architectural interest inside and out with maximum design flexibility. Their talented designers and installers can match your unique home through dramatic sizes, custom colors, finishes, profiles, product types, and more. Along with durable and distinguished details, all Pella products stand the test of time, which is why they confidently offer the best wood warranty in the industry. Don't miss out on no-interest financing options or free glass upgrades at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Certain restrictions apply, and the deal ends April 30th, so place your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
At U.S. Bank, when they say they're in it with you, they mean it. Not just for the good stuff, the grand openings and celebrations, although those are pretty great, but for all the hard work it took to get there, the fine-tuning of goals, the managing of cash and workflows, and decision-making. They're in to help you through all of it, because together they're proving day in and day out that there is nothing as powerful as the power of us. Visit usbank.com to get started today. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, copyright 2024 U.S. Bank.
Life's better with American Family Insurance, because whether it's a family road trip in your dream car or hosting a family reunion in your dream home, we help you feel protected so you can enjoy those dreams with peace of mind. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
When you've been seriously injured, you'll need a team with knowledge and experience to get the results you deserve. Call Gruber Law Offices today. Proud partner of your Milwaukee Bucks. One call, that's all.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
All right, first thing you should know, 79% or about, so 8 in 10 public school teachers are white in this country. So if Donald Trump's executive order is universally accepted by school districts around the country, which it won't be, because no matter what the federal government says or whatever advice and consent is given by the fledgling U.S. Department of Education, I think there are some teachers that will not hit kids physically, which is weird because there was a movement, it died down, where they would allow teachers to have guns in the classroom. They say to prevent a mass shooting. Y'all must not know how mass shootings work. A teacher having a firearm A 24-year-old white woman who graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire with a 9mm in her classroom is much more likely to shoot a student or to get shot by a student than to shoot a mass shooter. That's common sense. But they wanted to have guns in the classroom. Do y'all remember that? Was it during like Trump's first term, or was it even before that? It might have been during Obama's term. There was like Republican legislation to allow teachers to have guns. Hell no, that's crazy. Because the racial dynamic would take over. If we believe that some of the negative racial interactions we have is because some white people are afraid of black people, if you believe that to be the case, some of y'all might think that white people are never afraid of us. There are some of you that think that white people are afraid of us. Giving a teacher access to a firearm in her classroom, then that racial statistic, I think, takes precedent over the common sense of the teacher. So I never was in favor of that. And plus, you got to be a pretty good shot if there's a mass shooter coming in a classroom, because you can't miss, because if you miss, you're going to hit somebody, right? But it's amazing how they would allow guns in the classroom, but then won't allow you to physically discipline a student. And so the racial dynamic is one that needs to be taken into account. From NEA Today, in 1992, Robin McNair was in her first year of teaching, the first and only time she ever paddled a student. She says she vaguely recalls her reasoning for paddling the fifth grader. Quotes, "I don't even remember what he did, but I don't think he did anything drastic. As I think about it, I wonder why I thought doing this would stop him from being a child," she says. McNair, who had also been paddled as a student, for her, punitive measures were the only way for students to comply. "I was an advocate for removing students from the classroom and other punitive measures. I used to blame and shame my students when they did something wrong. Now, over 25 years later, well, 30 plus years later, the restorative justice coordinator in Prince George's County, Maryland, works to advocate against corporal punishment and other punitive measures in schools. In March of 2023, then Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona penned a letter to administrators and policymakers calling for the ban of corporal punishment in all education settings in America. Unfortunately, some schools continue to put the mental and physical well-being of students at risk by implementing the practice of corporal punishment," said Cardona. "Corporal punishment can lead to serious physical pain and injury. It is also associated with higher rates of mental health issues. The U.S. Department of Education defines corporal punishment as, quote, paddling, spanking, or other forms of physical punishment imposed on a child. Corporal punishment has been banned in most states since the mid-1990s, and the number of students experiencing the punishment has dropped over the past decade. But the practice remains on the books in a stubbornly high number of states." Oh, look at this map. What you guys can't see. There might be a way that, Rick, can you, there is a way, though, that you can, like, post pictures in the YouTube. Can you do that? No, you can't do it, Zach says? Okay. As of 2024, corporal punishment is legal in 17 states and practice in 14. An additional 6 other states have not expressly prohibited it. Several members of Congress have tried to prohibit corporal punishment in schools. In May 2023, Senator Murphy Christopher, a Democrat from Connecticut, introduced the Protecting Our Students Act to outlaw the practice of corporal punishment in schools, receiving federal funding. During the 2017-2018 school year, roughly 69 students were physically punished, down from 107,000 in 2013. That is wild. And they said that most of it started going away in the mid-1990s. Well, I started school in the 80s, and there ain't no teacher ever hit me. I've been knocked down by a football coach, but I was wearing a helmet and some pads, though. All right, I want to talk more about this on the other side. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for Hour 3.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, Gruber Law Offices and The Truth have raised the stakes for this year. The One Call That's All Gruber Cash Giveaway is now a $5K giveaway. Yes, you heard it right. $5,000 giveaway. Every weekday on 1017 The Truth, you will have the chance to be entered to win the $5K giveaway. Listen to The Truth for the One Call That's All cue to call for your chance to win $5,000. Gruber Law Offices, One Call That's All. Visit 1017thetruth.com for official contest rules.
Hey, Truth fam, this is your girl, Melanie Ricks, and I want to remind you to tune into Nothing But the Truth digital show with me, Melanie Ricks, presented by Visit Milwaukee. Every Wednesday at 6 p.m., a new episode drops on the 1017 The Truth YouTube page. And since it is on YouTube, I hold nothing back. I give you all my hot takes on celebrity gossip and give you the tea on relationships that you don't want to miss. Subscribe to 1017 The Truth on YouTube so you never miss Nothing But the Truth digital show, dropping every Wednesday at 6 p.m., presented by Visit Milwaukee. Handcrafted, homegrown, world class.
The Empowerment Small Business Loan Program, we're talking about up to $5 million, which for small business owners, we need that. That's like payroll, that's resources. So can you just let us know what is the program and why is this lending program so important to Old National Bank?
Years ago, our CEO, Jim Ryan, this program is his brainchild. He was working with Roland Shelton, who you know, Denise, out of Evansville, and they identified that African-American business owners, Hispanic business owners, Native American business owners, as well as women business owners had a difficult time in obtaining financing from the traditional credit partners. And so we went out, created a program, launched it last year, 2023. And so far last year, we have helped over 100 successful minority and women-owned businesses with about $25 million in loans. We've already started this year with almost $8 million in approvals, again, geared toward minority business owners and women business owners that normally had difficulties in obtaining traditional credit finance.
Truth Nation, let us talk our ish for a moment. There is no other station in the country where you get a front row seat to hear from some of the biggest names in politics, pop culture, and sports. People like Grammy Award winner John Legend.
Knowing that fight isn't over, knowing that we've got to stay motivated and stay inspired. Glory was a song that myself and Common wrote. Two brothers from the Midwest, from Chicago and from Springfield, Ohio.
Oscar Award winning actor Don Cheadle.
I know that we're the bright, shiny thing that sometimes gets the attention, but I would say don't listen to celebrities. You don't have to listen to us. Listen to yourself.
And President Donald Trump's son, Don Jr.
When did we have a strong economy? And I don't think anyone with a straight face can say right now. And the reality, when you look at it, it's not even voting for my father. Look at the team that's now surrounding him.
Tap into the award-winning and nationally recognized 1017 The Truth by downloading the Truth app and streaming us live at 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Milwaukee Black Talk. Listen to the man who tells you exactly how he sees it. The Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris every weekday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. on 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 3 of The Truth with me, Sherwin Hughes. We are talking about an executive order that frees school districts up to use corporal punishment where they see fit. If we didn't want teachers, and a lot of us didn't, having guns in the classroom to quote unquote, you know what that was about. That was in case a student gets a little bit too unruly. Because I've seen some scenarios, and so have you, recorded on students' cameras where these students are beating the hell out of teachers to where if something like that was happening in the real world on the street, you could shoot somebody. Y'all know you can shoot somebody for beating you up. You can stand your ground. There's no duty to retreat. You can actually shoot a person. And if a teacher has a firearm in a classroom, and if that teacher reasonably believes, and there's been some videos that I've seen of students beating teachers, that teacher had probable cause and reason to believe that their life was in jeopardy, they could shoot a student. So during the Biden years and the Obama years, there was an attempt to these 14 states that still allow corporal punishment to get them to extinguish it altogether by threatening their federal funding. And a lot of schools, especially schools in the South and rural districts where the Republican legislators are always against raising taxes. So sometimes you got to raise taxes to invest in stuff the private sector won't cover. That's why government exists, to remedy problems and to ease suffering the private sector won't get involved in. The private sector is not going to give a bunch of money to make sure that there's wheelchair ramps for students that are differently able. They're never going to do that. That's what government is for. The private sector doesn't care that people's wages are so low. In fact, the private sector is partially to blame, and our addiction to free or cheap labor is the reason why there are some people in this country, if you can believe it, that are working full time and still qualify for benefits. And if they didn't receive some of those food benefits, they wouldn't be able to feed themselves or their family. Private sector ain't going to do that. That's what government is supposed to do. Government is supposed to help the people that the private sector won't and get involved in things that the private sector never would. So there was an attempt to tell these 14 states that still allow some form of corporal punishment, hey, extinguish it, make it illegal, or we're going to pull your federal funding. And to my best approximation, those states still maintain it. Now, they used it a lot less because the numbers went down, but now the Trump administration is like, look, your federal funding is not threatened. Well, they're going to take away damn near all the federal funding for education anyway. So now you can beat the kids as you see fit. If something like that, if you ask the voters, I would be so interested. I think I might do a poll in Hughes views. If MPS, because they would get permission from the voters, because we still fund a disproportionate amount of the schools in the district. State gives us some money. I don't know what our federal allocations are, but that's going to be dwindling down to nothing. And if the people in this city that are disproportionately with our property tax dollars, did y'all get your assessments? Shh. Your boy Sherwin got his on. I got it on Friday. Black and white envelope. Your city tax assessment is inside. I didn't open that joke until Sunday because I wasn't ready to see it. I didn't get it as bad as some of y'all. My assessment went up like 26%, which probably going to have an escrow shortage, but it's all right. But if us, those of us that pay property taxes, or those of you that pay rent, and your rent is going to go up because of the increased assessment of your landlord's property. If you're asked a question, do you think that teachers and MPS should be allowed to physically discipline students? So it would be teachers and safety. There's never enough school safety. Have you guys noticed that? There's not enough. You have a school like, what's one of the bigger MPS schools? It's hard to say. Maybe Washington? Vincent, I know Vincent used to be, I bet Vincent in his heyday was probably 2,000 kids. It'll be like 9 school safety for 2,000 kids. What if the teachers, how do y'all like legitimately feel about this? How do you legitimately feel? And maybe they ask the voters. I'd love to see that referendum. Due to changing circumstances at the U.S. Department of Education, the city of Milwaukee is asking the voters of Milwaukee, whatever the referendum would say, it wouldn't be that straightforward. If you are in favor of allowing, and they would say something like, on a limited and necessary basis, corporal punishment to be executed inside MPS classrooms in K through 12 schools. Yes or no? I bet it would pass. And it would pass because there is a dwindling share of Milwaukee residents, more importantly, Milwaukee voters, that have their kids in MPS. Their kids may go to school in the suburbs. Their kids may go to school in private schools. Also, I don't know how corporal punishment applies to private schools because they're not under the same guidelines as public schools. Can they still punch kids in the face in private schools? They might be able to. Not sure. But I bet if you ask the voters, because we've been so bombarded by poor student behavior and violent student behavior, that if you ask the voters on a referendum, should corporal punishment be brought back into the classroom, I think it would pass, because it would be like probably on a spring election ballot, and people that vote in spring elections, typically in Milwaukee County, are older voters, and they remember a time when their teacher bent them over and paddled them. What if a student liked it? Do you still continue the discipline? Because there's some, like 1 in 10 students, you know what I'm saying, might, hey, Johnny, you just stole Cicely's pencil. Get up here and you're going to get paddled. And then Johnny prances his way up to the teacher and says, oh my God, I'm going to get paddled? Oh, well, teacher, no, don't do it again. Don't. Oh my God. Oh. I'll steal all the pencils. What if the student like it? Then does the teacher keep going? You know? Oh my God.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, I'm so naughty. I've been a bad boy.
Watch your mouth.
I think I need. And then you might have some kids that might commit behavioral infractions on purpose just so they could get a little taste. You know what I'm saying?
Swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up?
Well, we got that problem now with that one teacher that was swallowing up the boys from the Rufus King basketball team. One of her friends, I can't remember what her name is, Alamange, Erica Alamange something, Reinke. Erica Alamange Reinke, that's her name. There were a group of boys from the Rufus King basketball team that were walking around Brookfield Square Mall, and those boys met one of Erica Alamange Reinke's friends, another white woman. And she was like, oh my God, Erica. She tagged Erica on Facebook. So, oh my God, Erica, I met some of your students, some of the basketball players from Rufus King. These are the boys that she essentially was sexually abusing. And she said, oh my God, they love you so much. Oh, and they just love to pose for the camera. What if she took freaky pictures of them boys? Erica Alamange Reinke. What if she's... Yikes. I'm not sure how I would vote on that fictional referendum if they asked if students in the Milwaukee public school system should be able to discipline children. Because I wouldn't get over the racial component so I don't think MPS is quite 80% white. It's probably closer to parity. But I do know, especially in higher up positions, more white staff and administrators than black. And I'm not counting Hispanic as people of color. In fact, you're not included. Y'all are not included with us no more. I said it. And I don't care what y'all say about me. Do not conflate or include our trajectory in history and our struggle and our fight as black people descended from slaves with someone who opted to come here to get a job. We are not the same. Stop lumping us together. And I would expect for the LGBTQ community, because y'all don't want the Qs with y'all, the old schools, the L's and the G's, the OGs of that movement, the lesbians and the gays. They don't want transgender issues like thrown in with them. I'm going off script here. I still want to talk about corporal punishment. But how come we always see transgender girls in girl sports, but we don't see transgender men and boys? Where's the stud trying to play in the NFL? Think about that for a second. Why is it always a one-way street? Why is it all, unless you can prove me different? I did look up an example, and you know what I found? I found one example of a transgender man participating with males competitively. Because I think it's unfair. Say whatever you want about me, but someone born a man with all the male hormones and the additional muscle mass and the strength and the height, identifying as a woman and then playing women. But you don't see transgender men. Like, you don't see a woman, born a woman basketball player identify as a man and do whatever it takes to become a man, like going in the first round of the NBA draft. Doesn't happen. Does not happen ever. But it was fencing. There's a transgender man that competes with the men in fencing. And I would argue that there's not a whole lot of gender difference. Because you know what fencing is? It's sword fighting. Even though the transgender person doesn't have a real sword. No, I guess they do have a real sword. You know? Ricky, you might as well say it on the air. Because if I'm listening...
I don't want to say it on the air.
Yeah, you are. Because if I got to listen to you, then I'm not talking, and it sounds like dead air. So you got to say it on the air.
Wow.
Say it. Now, you said two men hugging from the front.
Yeah, that's what you mean by sword fighting?
No, I would rather two men hug from the front than hug from the back. That's worse. Imagine if a dude came up to you from behind, hey, Ricky, and he wrapped his arms around you from the back, and then you grabbed his arms and embraced him. Hi. I'd rather two men, like men when we hug each other, it's like an offset hug. So the spears are not exactly tip to tip. You know what I mean?
That's what you call it?
Well, our hugs are off center. Unless it's
spears?
I'm just using it as an example. So you know how we hug, and I hug men. Men hug me. Hey, Sherwin, hey, dog, how you doing? You start with the handshake, and then you pull them in, and you do the pat on the back, and you're offset. So one spear is facing southeast, and the other one is northwest. You know what I'm talking about? When men hug each other, we don't hug like, come here, big boy. We don't do it like face to face. We don't stare at each other in each other's eyes. Hey, how are you, sir? I'm good, dog. How was you? Yeah, I'm all right. You smell really good. So do you. Well, what are you wearing? Jupe. I'm wearing Cool Water. We don't hug like that.
First of all,
what?
Nothing.
You know what I'm saying? Men hug. It's a masculine way to hug. I hug my guys. If I ain't seen them for a while.
Another man that he smells good. I might say, hey, what cologne you got on, big dog?
Same thing.
It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
I bet you look.
First, Ricky be like, say, hey, Sherwin, you smell good today.
You've complimented me on my cologne before. He was like, because you came in the studio and I was wearing cologne. He was like, oh, Sherwin, what are you wearing? I was like, I don't know. A pants and a shirt. I'm like, no, your fragrance. Ricky came in the studio. He was like, I love that.
What? Don't lie to these.
That was you the other day,
Sherwin. Don't lie to these people.
I did compliment on Ricky's fragrance.
Yeah, that's that Prada.
I wear Prada. You don't wear Prada. Cologne smells different on different people.
I wear Prada. What's it called? Carbone, or what is it? Carbon. Prada Carbon. I wear Givenchy. I wear Burberry. And what else do I wear?
Actually, I know. All at once.
It's not all at once. And I wear Dolce.
How did we get here? I was talking about corporal punishment and a possible referendum on the MPS budget, or on the MPS referendum. Let me be clear. There is no move to put a corporal punishment referendum on the ballot. I'm saying if they did, I think it would pass because more people would want to see discipline in the schools because a lot of these young people act unruly. But I don't know if they'd be afraid of the teachers. I think a lot of kids would come to school ready to fight. If they knew that teachers could hit them, I think the students would be prepared and they would fight. Maybe instead of having guns in the schools, which some Republicans proposed some years ago, what if we teach teachers how to fight, like do real MMA? Like Miss Smith in home ec class could actually do a leg lock on a kid and get him to submit. Do they still teach home ec? Zach, you're probably the most recent high school graduate or secondary, elementary school graduate out of anybody here. Did you have home economics classes where you had to cook and sew?
No, I got to smoke with you. Don't talk to me.
What you mean you got to smoke?
I just got approached and said that was a funny video of you. I said, what are you talking about?
I didn't, first of all, Zach.
They said, oh, you went viral in Madison with the football team. I said, what video? They said, oh, the one in Sherwin's group. I said, oh, Zach, you mean the one that I made him delete because it wasn't me?
I didn't post the video, though.
You approved the post.
I didn't see it before I approved it. I was very busy. It looks just like, it's not a bad video. Except the guy who's in it, who's dancing in front of the football team, he's sweating. His back is wet with sweat.
And he's like 100 pounds heavier than me.
We don't fat shame around here. Nobody's fat shaming. All right, I got to take a break. Nobody's fat shaming Lizzo either. Because somebody always gets mad at me. Sherwin, y'all remember when Lizzo was at the Lakers game and she was wearing that tiny itty bitty skirt and she was sitting courtside and she started twerking and there was children behind her? That's inappropriate. So whenever you sit courtside, Zach, you know you've sat courtside before like a baller boss. There's etiquette down there. You don't act a certain way. You literally don't show your ass when you sit courtside. You don't do that. Speaking of which, it's over for the Bucks. It's over. It's Dunsky. They played like they gave up. Dame was just standing there and didn't even do nothing. Didn't even have a ball, I don't think. He just fell down with a torn Achilles. Dame just hurt himself to get this series over with.
I told Ben before the playoffs started, I said the Bucks never make it past the second round, and we always struggle playing the playoff Indiana Pacers. Not the regular season, but the playoff Indiana Pacers, which is like 2 times better.
I mean, they shot like 60%. They just buckets. They're a well-disciplined, well-coached, well-prepared team. I'm worried about Doc Rivers now because this is 2 years in a row we've been taken out in the first round. But the other thing is we got a taste, didn't we? We got a taste of a championship. That was the happiest I think I'd ever seen the city of Milwaukee in my life. And all that stuff that they promised us when they were building the Deer District and all the state money that they wanted the taxpayers to chip in to build the Fiserv Forum. At first, we weren't going for it. But they were like, you give us this money to build this plaza, to build this entertainment district. You let us rebuild the Milwaukee Bucks, and we going to give you a championship. And I got to be honest, they ain't lie. They ain't lie one time. We ain't been nowhere close since. That's part of my warm weather entertainment. Ain't nothing like going to a June playoff game and going to the Deer District and kicking it. It is a party. And now the damn basketball season going to be over May 2nd. All right, I got to take a break. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
It's Dr. Ken Harris, and you can watch me now live on YouTube every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m., and you can watch the best radio show in Wisconsin by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Watch me explore the issues which are shaping our community while also having fun discussions, pop culture, current events, all kind of stuff going on right here on YouTube right now by subscribing to 1017 The Truth. Milwaukee Black Talk is now streaming live on YouTube. It's 1017 The Truth. Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. There's lots of buzz surrounding the draft, but you won't find one seeping through Pella's windows and doors. In fact, you should make Pella your #1 pick because right now you can take advantage of no interest financing options or free glass upgrades as long as you order by April 30th. Make a statement by adding Pella's architectural interest inside and out with maximum design flexibility. Their talented designers and installers can match your unique home through dramatic sizes, custom colors, finishes, profiles, product types, and more. Along with durable and distinguished details, all Pella products stand the test of time, which is why they confidently offer the best wood warranty in the industry. Don't miss out on no-interest financing options or free glass upgrades at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Certain restrictions apply, and the deal ends April 30th, so place your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Ready to buy your first house, move into your forever home, or simply refinance? At Associated Bank, they've got you. With the right lending plan and guidance, you can achieve your dreams. Your financial goals are closer than you think, and Associated Bank is excited to help you reach them. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Adrian was seriously injured when a careless driver merged into her lane.
Gruber was there for everything that I needed. Any questions that I had, Gruber was there. They made me feel like everything about my situation and my accident was very important to them, and that made me feel good. And I would definitely call Gruber again for that.
Serving Wisconsin for over 35 years, Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
They go above and beyond for their clients.
The I-94 rivalry is more than just bragging rights. Get to the ballpark for Brewers-Cubs action May 2nd through the 4th and spend Friday and Saturday night under the lights and help the Crew defend American Family Field and the National League Central Crown.
That's your ball game!
Then pack the park for Sunday matinee baseball at the May 4th series finale and take advantage of the Sunday Fun Day bundle. Get your tickets now at Brewers.com.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
This is a trap, man. I can't sit back and let this moment slip away. Guess I got my eye on you.
And it's a remix with Nina Sky. So this was back when did this come out? Early 2000s, probably 05, 6, 7, somewhere
It was
around
like 05, 06. It was like the snap era.
Ooh, I was in the streets thick. I was out because I was just making like real money.
How old were you?
05, 30.
Really?
Ooh, God.
Damn.
Making real money. Man, I was living it up. Private dining rooms and moles, and kicking it. Money wasn't even an object.
Oh, you was a drug dealer.
I ain't never been no damn
drug. You was getting money. All right. Popping bottles.
You know where I worked for the mayor. I worked in city government.
So those the biggest dealers.
I'm making that good city money.
You was popping Dom Perignon, drinking Cristal.
Cristal tastes like pee-pee.
So you know how you can afford it. You drunk it before.
I didn't buy a bottle of it, but it used to be.
Oh, he got that corrupted money.
So back in the day, if you had money and you got bottle service used to be exclusive. Now any fool with 10 people and $1,000 can get a bottle. Back in the day, and all you got was champagne. You couldn't get bottle service and get just like a bottle of Absolute. It was only champagne. And somebody got, it must have been at Eve on 720 North Milwaukee Street. Somebody, because all the big ballers used to get bottle service at Eve, but it was only champagne. You couldn't get liquor. Or maybe it was somewhere else. I don't know where it was. But no, bottle service, you couldn't just get like tequila. And now people spend $1,000 for a section and get a raggedy bottle of Casamigos. That's insane to me. Let's talk to Al. You're on 1017 The Truth. How are you?
I'm doing good. The first thing I want to tell you with the judge, for them kind of blacks who said she should be locked up, remember for them kind, white man's ice is always colder. They don't even care if it's a dirty glass with lip marks and fingerprints on it. The biggest thing is they're white, and then them kind of black eyes, whites they don't go against no whites. Number two, also for them kind of blacks who always claim they Christian, they always stand behind God and the Bible to push their hate. But that's what a lot of Christians do. They know every Bible verse, but they never speak out. They never speak out against the wrongdoing of the white man. And if you look at history, a lot of people died in the name because they said Jesus said it was right. So I want you, so you so-called blacks and Christians, you will never be white, okay? Just keep that in mind. Sundown time, you'll never be white. So keep on working on that. Also, with the teachers, a lot of teachers been speaking out because they feel that is a setup to put your hands on somebody else's kids. So some teachers been speaking out and saying they're not going to do that. But my question for you, Mr. Hughes, if you was going fishing in the ocean, would you be fishing for catfish and crappie, or would you be going for the monster of the sea?
I would try to get a big ocean going fish like a swordfish or a tuna or sturgeon, something like that.
See,
big fish.
Okay, see, the reason why I ask you this is because, see, the money and power is not with the blacks and the Mexicans. The money and power is with the Jews. And the racist whites fail to realize the Jews have outsmarted these racist white folks while they're thinking like they're 15, 18 and dressing up like $5 Indians. Only thing the Jews had to do is use their skin color, their hair, and their pity-party of the Holocaust to gain money and power. You don't hear about no Jews having to file bankruptcy on their farm. You don't hear about no Jew state or no Jew boy state being denied aid. All the Jews had to do is take Trump a crown, and now they're considered minorities. So now they're going to laugh all the way to the bank while some of these racist, barbaric Republicans live check to check. And the Jews are sitting at home twirling their fingers. And they're looking at these racist white folks and said, try me, wench. And they're converted Jews. And a lot of Jews are very racist. But yet, you don't hear them Jews complaining. Them Jews outsmarted you white Republicans. And they're getting all the money. They're using the Mexicans and black people to cover it up. But you don't hear Trump going after the Jews. He's giving the Jews more money because he knows the Jews are more smarter and they know how to outdo racist white people. All they do is lay low, bust move silently, and collect more money. And they are still laughing all the way to the bank. And guess what, Mr. Hughes? Jews are not a fan of Christians, and they spit on Christian white women and black women and call them all kind of belligerent names. Now, where are y'all white Republicans who have those farmers about to file bankruptcy? Where are you white Republicans raising $1 million about the Jews? And they're not even the real Jews. And they're still sitting back laughing. So I guess your racism, and I guess you thinking like cavemen didn't do you so well. And you can't be the superior race when you still need people. But the Jews is still laughing all the way to the bank. Think about it. So let's see how many of you white Republicans are called in. Because y'all won't mess with them Jews. And them Jews came right in and took your money right up under your nose. Have a great day. Gotta go. Bye-bye.
It was teetering on anti-Semitic. It would teeter and then it would totter.
I thought he was gonna give us one.
It was teeter and then totter. But anybody can become a Jewish person. Like I could be Jewish if I go to. How do they do it? Like Whoopi Goldberg is Jewish. Another black Jewish person. Well, he's dead. Sammy Davis Jr. was Jewish. Isn't what's the one that's been celibate? He said for all them years. Lenny Kravitz. Isn't he Jewish too? I think he's Jewish.
I don't believe Lenny Kravitz is celibate.
Why not? It's possible to not get any for a while.
I don't believe that.
All right. I mean, I do. Because why would you lie about that? If anything, you're going to lie in the opposite direction, say you get plenty of it.
Lenny gets women.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that he has to take them up on their offers. He probably realizes that a lot of times, fellas, can you relate? It isn't worth it sometimes, because sometimes when she gives herself to, unless y'all are on the same page, unless y'all have an arrangement or an agreement, or if you're married or in a relationship, if you sleep with a woman, like, be careful, because now she'll be like, aha, now all my problems are yours because I gave you my body. Now we're together and I'm going to control your life. No, it ain't worth all that. So it's like, I'd rather bird watch than hunt sometimes. I'd rather observe the bird in its natural habitat from afar than to stuff it and mount it.
So you got the eagle's eye.
Whatever you want to call it. Because a lot of times it ain't worth it. Sometimes it is worth it, though. But a lot of times it isn't, because the woman that she can become, or the woman she actually is, that's only released after she's physically intimate with a guy, may not be the woman that you wanted, gentlemen. and the woman that you thought she was. And a lot of times it's just not worth it. And this is no slight to you good girls. You know, those of you that waited until marriage and you only slept with one fella, good for you. And the good guys that waited until marriage before they did the mattress mambo. That's how it's supposed to be. You meet your person, you save yourself for your person, you have a courtship, you get married, and then on your honeymoon, you consummate the marriage. Don't do freaky stuff. You know what I mean? Don't do the corporal punishment, paddling each other and doing freaky stuff and putting on a gimp outfit like a whole leather bodysuit with a leather mask and a zipper for the mouth and a ball gag. Do that when you're married.
You didn't even wait till you got married to hit that.
Well, I've never been married, though, so that...
Oh, you've been engaged. Okay. Big difference.
No, it's a huge difference. In the eyes of the law...
It's a technicality.
No, it's not. You think that being engaged... Okay, tell you what. Get engaged, Ricky, and call off the engagement, okay? Get married and call off the marriage. Tell me you don't get a different set of court papers.
Oh, it's gonna be a different because you gotta. It's levels to it. You gotta go through certain stuff to get things done.
Correct. So marriage and engagement is the difference between like marriage and just having a boyfriend or a girlfriend. They're not even remotely close. It's engagement is like, yeah, let's consider it on this day. But if the day comes and you don't get married, the engagement don't mean nothing. I'm glad I didn't get married. At some point, you got to look at the statistics for what they are. If every other marriage ends in divorce, why are you so lucky that your marriage is going to survive? You know what I mean? Unless you have like a business arrangement. I'm not talking about this. Y'all get mad. Whenever whenever women hear from a man that doesn't need a woman, that means she can't get her power by using his. Women get real mad. So we're not going to talk about that. On April 23rd, the White House released an executive order titled Reinstating Common Sense School Discipline Policies. Despite its seemingly neutral title, the order sends a deeply concerning message to educators and policymakers that equity in school discipline is more of a political liability than a moral and educational imperative. Take a break, come back, continue our conversation. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
What are some of the things that we need to really focus on to get our fair share of these opportunities, i.e. access to capital?
You know, it's very important to always think about building a strong business plan, understanding the financial parameters around what you're trying to accomplish, building great networks and great relationships so you can have partnerships and building out your dream. And then finding a good financial partner like Old National to help really orchestrate your vision of the organization. And then, as you know, DT, you wouldn't be where you're at because you're phenomenal, doing great work. And then you have to really have to go to work. If you have that dream, you have that vision, the business plan, the financial piece, then you have to really work at it and keep building.
Learn more about the Old National Bank Small Business Empowerment Loan by visiting oldnational.com/small business or contact a small business banker at Old National Bank.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Here is Dr. Ken Harris with his truth.
You know, in life, our journey is not meant to be walked alone. As much as self-reliance and independence are celebrated, we need an inner circle, a group of trusted friends who uplift, challenge, and remind us of our purpose. Your inner circle is more than just companionship. It's your compass. These are the people who see your potential when self-doubt clouds your vision, who tell you the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, and who stand beside you when the weight of the world feels unbearable. You know, the value of an inner circle is not just in the emotional support, but in accountability. They hold us to our highest standards, ensuring we don't settle for mediocrity. It's through this circle that we refine our thoughts, grow in character and courage to face life's battles. Today is no exception. Choose wisely. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, energize you, and believe in your dreams as much as you do. They will then shape your growth, strengthen your resilience, and celebrate your victories. You know, James Baldwin once said, "The place in which I will fit will not exist until I make it." Your inner circle is part of that place, a foundation for your growth, your success, and most importantly, belonging.
This has been Truth Takes on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Listen to The Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris, weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Bobby Valentino. Hey, yo, Tim, drop that beat for me. Yeah. Little something real sexy for me. Yeah. I see that girl.
There's a lot of really good songs on this playlist to take me back to my little heyday. All right, I got this. I said I was going to talk about this article, but I'm noticing things unrelated to the current topic, which is corporal punishment in schools, and I wonder if it was put to a referendum, if it would pass, because Donald Trump just signed an executive order allowing school districts to, you don't have to be shy when it comes to the moral or political implications of corporal punishment. I think the Trump administration is basically telling schools with this executive order, do not be afraid of the political implications of using corporal punishment to discipline schools. Do what you have to do for your particular school to get students on track. Now, will this create a rush of schools that are now using corporal punishment? It will not. But will there be schools, especially in some smaller southern rural districts, that believe and teach spare the rod, spoil the child, going to reintroduce it? Absolutely. But I wonder, because we have I don't know, maybe it's an erroneous stereotype that black children are violent, or when they grow up, they'll be violent. It's also a stereotype that some believe that if black people get power, like political power, that we will do to white people what white people have done to us. Maybe these stereotypes, maybe they're true. I don't know. Maybe they're erroneous. I'm not entirely sure. But I bet you if you ask the voters in the city of Milwaukee, voters are different than residents. Residents don't always vote. It's a difference. A voter is a specific category of person. And when I say voter, not just vote for president, just vote for governor. I mean, a voter is somebody who votes in every election. For me, it's all or nothing. You need to have a flawless voting record for the last 10 elections for me to consider you a voter. Yeah, maybe I'll go with 8 out of 10 if you had a good excuse to miss those 2. But there really isn't, because so much is at stake for all of us. But I bet if you ask voters, they would vote to allow corporal punishment on a limited basis, I'm sure, in the Milwaukee Public School District. All right, so I got this story right here. I should wait until tomorrow, but I titled the show, what we titled the show? I want to get the words right. You only get what you're organized to take. And that comes from an article that appears in thenation.com. It says, the day Donald Trump won the 2024 election, the 10 richest people in the world, including 9 Americans, expanded their wealth by nearly $64 billion, the greatest single-day increase in recorded history. Since then, an unholy marriage of billionaire investors, tech bros, Christian nationalists, and of course Donald Trump has staged an oligarchic assault on our democracy. If the nation's corporate elite once leveraged their relationships within the government to enrich themselves, now they've cut out the middleman. We're living in a new gilded age with a proto-fascistic and religious regressive administration of, by, and for the billionaires. With the wind currently at their backs, leading elements in the Republican Party have rapidly eschewed euphemisms and political correctness altogether, airing their anti-immigrant, anti-black, and anti-poor prejudices in unapologetically broad and brazen terms. The effect of this, especially for the most vulnerable among us, is seismic. During the first 2 months of the second Trump administration, we've witnessed nothing less than an escalatory war on the poor. So I'm going to stop right there because there's something that is brought to mind. I mentioned this earlier, and I don't know if this offends people or not. I am personally offended by it. You do not have to share my offense. Combining people of color is disrespectful to black people. A woman from South Korea who got a PhD from Harvard should not be included in the black single mama who has to work 3 jobs to afford her apartment while she's raising 5 boys on the south side of Chicago. But they would both be considered people of color. I also don't like the term BIPOC. I'm not saying that you have to dislike the term BIPOC and people of color lumping us all together like our struggle is the same. This is a Sherwin thing. And let me tell you why I don't like it. Because in people of color are, let's say, people from Central America and South America and Mexico. And those that might be here legally now, okay? While I understand their plight, their historical trajectory and their interaction with this country is drastically different than mine. In fact, we don't even really know each other like that. I don't know them South American people like that. I don't know them Central American people like that. I don't know them people from Guatemala and El Salvador and Panama. I don't know them like that for people to include us all together. I love the Mexicans. They make a hell of an enchilada. I love them a lot. They're great people. But don't include them and what they're going through, especially in America, in my struggle. Now, I can see some similarities, how some of them want to come north for a better life, but our coming north was way different than theirs. Here's the thing about it. They may not like their country. Their country might be war-torn and disproportionately poor, but they have a country. Not only do they have a country, they have their own democracy, their own criminal justice system. And so when they come here and get oppressed, to some extent, they're choosing it. Now, they're also making a choice. Is the oppression at home in Mexico or in Central America worse than the oppression they may face in the United States? I don't know. That's for them to decide. But to include all of us together is problematic for black folks. And this is not me being negative against them, but I also know that there's a Puerto Rican Common Council president that is using his bully pulpit as a bully to split and divide the majority of the Common Council, which are black people. I don't like that. And I also don't like people that can be against the African-American agenda to move our community forward, be co-opted by other people that want to move themselves forward at our expense. I don't like it. Now, again, I'm not asking you to share my disgust, but stop calling me a person of color like my struggle is the same as someone who just came here from El Salvador. It is not. It isn't. But when you lump us together, you can punish us all together. Like the whole DEI initiative, that punishes all of us equally. And I'm just wondering how they, as they lump us all together as people of color and the quote unquote diversity of this country, how they treat one of us might be how they treat all of it. Don't treat me like somebody who ain't from here, who hasn't lived here their entire life, who has the birth certificate to say so. Now, this is not me trying to sound anti-immigrant. I'm saying don't put me with other black folks. And there's even enough difference between black folks to where a lot of us don't even get along. But if you add in other groups, races, nationalities, and cultures and say, oh, they're all the same, they all have the same battle. Now, to some extent, all of our enemies as quote-unquote people of color is white supremacy, but you got some people of color that use white supremacy to their benefit. Let a Latina woman who got blue eyes dye her hair blonde and marry a white German man. She will act as white as she needs to be to get ahead in this country, including oppressing other black people if it gets her ahead. Yet, when her people are being discriminated against, I am a person of color. All of a sudden, her Spanish accent is going to come back. Y'all need to stop playing with us. Because I don't know if they realize it. They need us. They do. And I don't know if they've ever been respectful enough of black people and what we have struggled to provide them so they can come here and enjoy American capitalism and democracy. and we just get lumped together with them. It's way more nuanced than that. Now, again, I'm not asking you to share my outrage, but it is disingenuous and it is disrespectful. It's like spitting in our face when you just include all these quote unquote people of color together like we have struggled equally. I don't know the statistics on a Chinese kid getting racially profiled and beat up by the police, but I know the black statistics, so it is unfair. Statistically, it's unfair. Demographically, it's unfair to call the Chinese kid who might have billionaire parents a, quote, person of color who was being oppressed in the United States. He might get made fun of because he's Chinese, but he also can probably just go back to China, though, too. Where I'm going to go back to. I saw some stuff in the YouTube chat. It was probably, 30 or 40 minutes ago. Those of you that are talking about Africa, like this is another pet peeve of mine. Stop talking about the damn continent of Africa like it's a country. And Lisa, you should know better because you was one of the people in the chat talking about, oh, Africa's a wonderful country. It's a continent. Saying Africa is a country is like saying North America is a country. That's like saying Canada is in Wisconsin. That's like saying Nicaragua is in New York. No, I can't today. How much time left in this show? 6 minutes, 7, 10 minutes. All right. Take a break. I guess we can stop saying Bucks in 6. Is that safe to say? Oh, Zach, really? Can't even win games at home. Okay, the Bucks are going to win out. Zach, would you like to place a bet? I like that. $100, the Bucks don't advance. You want a piece? No, let's not even make it 100. Lunch. All right. And the winner gets to choose. Ricky, you want a piece too?
Piece of what?
A piece of this bet, piece of this action. Zach thinks the Bucks
are going to lose.
All right.
I'm not. No, it's not smart.
Look, you see, we put Bango ass in the corner. And in the ESPN studio, they turned Bango around completely, so he facing the wall. They dished Bango. They played so bad last night. It was so awful. All right, I got to take a break. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, the time is almost here. Be sure to tap into the Tory Lowe Show Friday, May 2nd, as I'll be giving away $5,000 to one of our lucky Truth fans who were entered in to win the Gruber Law Office's $5,000 giveaway. Again, that's Friday, May 2nd, when we'll be giving away $5,000 to one of our lucky Truth fans between 1 and 4 right here on the Tory Lowe Show. Remember, you have to be tapped into the show in order to be our next Gruber Law Office $5,000 winner right here on 1017 The Truth.
Great impressions will exceed your expectations. Great impressions, perceptions, everything.
At Great Impressions Graphics and Printing, they've been proudly serving the community for over 26 years. From their location at the corner of 54th and Burleigh in Milwaukee, their dedication to quality and customer satisfaction has made them a trusted name in printing and design. Great Impressions offer a wide range of services, including banners, posters, yard signs, business cards, programs, and postcards. Plus, they specialize in custom apparel printing, perfect for family reunions, sports outings, business promotions, and more. For your next project, visit greatimpress.com. That's greatimpress.com. Great Impressions. They're here when you need them.
Great impressions, perceptions, everything.
At U.S. Bank, when they say they're in it with you, they mean it. Not just for the good stuff, the grand openings and celebrations, although those are pretty great, but for all the hard work it took to get there, the fine-tuning of goals, the managing of cash and workflows, and decision-making. They're in to help you through all of it, because together they're proving day in and day out that there is nothing as powerful as the power of us. Visit usbank.com to get started today. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, copyright 2024, U.S. Bank.
Need to look your best for a special occasion? You need the $100 hookup. This incredible deal includes a marvelous suit, shirt, tie, and shoes, all for $100. Only at Nick Cavani's, home of the $100 hookup. And that isn't limited to some standard stock suit. You'll be pleased by the top quality and variety of fashion offered at Nick Cavani's. No matter the occasion, maybe you're just ready for a fresh, new stylish look. Get hooked up today at Nick Cavani's in Mayfair Mall and at nickcavani's.com.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Happy kids heal faster, and that's why Starlight is dedicated to improving the mental well-being of sick kids across the U.S. Learn how at starlight.org.
Wisconsin's own Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Yo, bro, I think I had too much Hennessy, man. This Hennessy getting to me. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little smashed. I'm a little dressed. But we in the club, man. Oh. Yeah, they hate, but they broke, though. And when it's time to pop.
First of all, lesbians make incredible rappers. MC Lyte. I don't know if she ever came out, but come on. Queen Latifah, one of the best
MC Lyte
ever.
is not a stud. She's not gay.
You sure?
I think so.
Well, she could be, and I'd be okay with it either
Queen
way.
Latifah is definitely gay.
Oh, yeah. Dana?
All the way.
Dana's so gay. We love Dana. Dana
Big
might
muffin.
even be in, what'd you say her muffin was big?
I did not say that. I said big muffin. I never said her muffin was big. I don't know what her muffin looks like.
One of my female friends refers to her coochie as Big Mama. It's a funny
A lot of women do.
It's so funny.
A lot of women do.
It's like, hey, Sherwin, you want to take a look at Big Mama? Hey, relax, we're friends.
Yeah, moose knuckle.
Yeah, I do want to see Big Mama action. She'll show it too. So here, take a look at it. She don't even care.
You seen it?
Yes, of course I have. A magic flower.
Walking a thin line, bucko.
I think men and women can be friends. Absolutely, they can. I got some real.
So you think y'all can be friends after you done seen that woman's no square?
I've seen more than that. Yeah.
What? Has she,
Rick, when a woman is
scared to
comfortable
ask this,
with
but has
you,
she seen your no square?
we ain't talking about me.
Oh my God.
We ain't talking about that's not what we're discussing. I'm just saying when a woman is comfortable with you, a woman who's comfortable with a man will do more things than a man that's comfortable with a woman, I think. They don't care sometimes, you know. But I think at the end of the day, I think that men and women can be friends. I didn't always believe that. I used to always think that there always had to be like an imbalance in the relationship, because I had relationships with women that were imbalanced. Either I like them or they like me. But you can embrace the imbalance and just never act on it. It actually can make the tension is good if you are mature enough to control it. But yes, I think that men and women can be friends. Here's where I personally draw a line. And again, I'm not telling you to draw a line anywhere. Y'all ain't got to draw no kind of lines. If a man or a woman is in a committed relationship, it's not right for them to hang out. My opinion. And because not a lot of people share this opinion that I have, I don't constrain myself with relationships. Like, we got to agree on what I call fundamental things. If I'm involved with a woman, I don't need her going out with her dude, just the two of them, mostly because if people know that I'm with this woman and they see her out and about in the city with another dude, that makes me look bad, number one. Number two, I am now entrusting her safety in a very dangerous world to him. That's my job, to protect her. And if she's out with another dude, I am outsourcing her protection to him. I don't like that. That's a Sherwin thing. Also, this is where I might be different than most. Some people feel complete when they're in a relationship. They feel like they're the key and their other person is the lock. Like they feel whole. They feel 100% when they're in a relationship. When I'm in a relationship, I feel incomplete because I'm losing a part of myself, and I got to give a part of myself to them. I don't feel whole in relationships. I feel incomplete. Unless my cup runneth over and whatever additional I have to give is what I can pour into a relationship. But more often than not, the compromises that we have to make somebody else happy takes too much away from who we are. And on that note, thank you guys for listening. Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace is up next.
Truth